Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 45 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by, I don't know what I want to call you this week, Cog. Sometimes I come in prepared. I was going to call you the Speedster once more, but that was the Defining Duke Ultimate nickname. I think I just got to give you Lord Cognito. I think I got to give you a break this week.
Duke Cognito. I've been around. We've been around with the Dukes.
Okay,
I've elevated slightly. Lord, don't feel away. Don't feel away. I'm still a Lord too. Don't feel away. I've been around with the Dukes. I'm assuming the role. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. A lot of gaming news, man. Excited. Love the Ultimate. I know that we did recently, but how have you been, sir?
I've been good. I've been quite good. Got a lot to talk about this week, as you said. I've been playing some Elden Ring, so I'm very excited to get into that. We got a Todd Howard interview. I mean, we were joking before the show. I was like, I think my strengths can flow through this episode. You know, usually we're tapping on the stuff that I'm in on, I know about, but like this is my bread and butter now. It's like, all right, let's get into some RPGs, right? You haven't seen Peak Maddie yet. Like right now, I'm just the guy who writes the show. But wait till 2023 when we got Avowed and Fable. Suddenly you're gonna love me.
I can't wait, bro. The excitement. There's certain topics I can't wait to get into because I need to know what Maddie feels. I need to know.
I appreciate it. I jest, but thank you. I appreciate it. For those of you who are listening right now, just know you can get our show early access over on patreon.com/laststandmedia. It hits free feeds on Sundays, like Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and of course, YouTube video versions. But for those who want early access, that's on Thursdays. And we've seen quite a number of write-ins say, I couldn't wait anymore. So, hey, shout out to all of you. And while you're over there, you can listen to Defining Duke Ultimate. We just did a whole episode on Forza. I couldn't fucking believe it, but we did it. A whole episode on Forza, from the early access numbers to the Game of the Year conversation, because let's be honest, Forza is the highest reviewed game of the year. And we got some stats to share on that one, which have been seriously impressive. So Forza continues to surge, and there's a lot to talk about with that. So that's available in a Defining Duke Ultimate episode 41. For those of you who are patrons, go ahead, check it out. Of course, mobile ratings and reviews, they help us. You already know that, though.
Yeah, hit that rating, y'all. Hit that rating up.
But I think more important than anything is the shout out I got to give, right?
Let's go.
I've documented in the past couple of ham radios and Defining Dukes my struggles to get the Resistance Burning Skies Platinum Trophy. Now I'm pleased to report it has been done. Thank you, Last Stand Media community, for this, because I'd been told, and I don't know how I missed this, but that you couldn't use your credit card or debit card on the PlayStation Store for Vita or PS3. So I had completely missed this. I'm trying to buy the Resistance Burning Skies Online Pass. I can't do it.
I remember, yeah.
Right. And so I find out I have to top off my wallet over at my PS5 or my PS4, then go back to my Vita, use the wallet there, and then it will work. So here's the funny part.
What?
I had to throw in $25 instead of 15. Yeah, it was, they got me, right?
This is an expensive trophy, bro.
This has been an expensive platinum trophy, right? I'm thinking like, I got a good deal on the game, but at the end of the day, when it all adds up, I spent pretty much full value on it. Shout out to Radic, though. Radic was the man who joined the last multiplayer match to ever be played in Resistance Burning Skies, because you needed to complete one match to get the trophy. So him and I just shot the shit. We did that. Shout out to him. Nice. I'm going to be giving him a hug at the next Last Stand meetup whenever we see him.
Salute.
So that's going to be my reward to him, but also the shout out. And he also wanted to send a message to Sacred Symbols to put some respect on PlayStation All-Stars, which he said you didn't have to do. But look, I'm a huge PS All-Stars fan. I just wanted to put that out there that I don't like that the Sacred Symbols boys are slandering probably one of the best Smash competitors. I don't know what we want out there, but put some respect on PlayStation All-Stars. And thank you again to Radic for getting me that platinum trophy. We're at 37 now. Not too shabby.
Salute.
All those guys who want me to do achievements are like, get their fucking hair out.
I'll do it. That's what's up, man. Salute to you for the effort. That effort that you went through this, but I feel you when it's a game you love and I
don't even love it.
Well, I mean, put it this way, it needles at you though, right? Don't you feel like it's like, I'm so close. I did all this. Like, I just need this done and out of my life. Yeah.
Yep. 100%. If only Xbox had a platinum.
Yeah.
Totally. Just a couple of things before we begin. Number one, details on Halo Infinite Spartan Killer Elite is over on IGN First as a part of that little program they're doing there. I didn't want to read it on the show because I understood it sort of trickled into spoiler territory. So I just want to let people know who are interested. That's available over there. It's a great write-up by Orion McCaffrey. Project Belfry, I missed this bit of news about a week and a half ago, which is that Xbox is working with the Banner Saga developers to make an exclusive. So we talked about Project Belfry, and I thought originally it was a Japanese studio. Shout out to the comments on the last Defining Duke episode because they put me onto this news here. It's from the Banner Saga devs, and they're working on a side-scrolling brawler, similar art to Banner Saga and Princess Mononoke, and that Belfry, which we had reported this in our show, is a base for crafting and upgrades. But hey, exclusive coming from the Banner Saga devs, bro.
That's my team. That's my team. Like,
that is a great trilogy,
I love
man.
Banner Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I played that hardcore. I used to play it hardcore on the Switch when it was announced.
That's why I played it.
That's why I played it, because it was the perfect game on the go. You had your turn base, and then you had your cavalry with your little war going through the thing. And I loved it. The art style. Oh, man. Like, when I heard they were doing it, I'm a huge fan of them. I'm super pumped now. Like,
game changer for me personally. Like it went from like, all right, we'll see how this goes to, okay, I expect this to be good.
Yes.
So, very much excited for that. Thank you to the Defining Duke community for putting me on that. Microsoft is partnering with Meta to integrate Teams into its Facebook-like workplace. I know you wanted to say a little something on this.
Yeah, I thought this was very interesting. You know, obviously, the word Meta these days ain't looked at in a positive light sometimes, but I did think that, it was interesting that Microsoft is working with them. And then I saw like a comment in the article to the effect like, this partnership may kind of possibly allude to collaboration with virtual reality and metaverse efforts in the future. So I know Microsoft's, whole bit on, Xbox's whole bit on not really jumping into the virtual reality space. But if Microsoft is teaming with them and they both have goals to be in this metaverse kind of thing and probably possibly use VR, at least we know with Meta and Oculus, then this is interesting. This is one of those things, just keep our eye open. That's one of those things. Let's see what happens in the future, especially if Microsoft chooses not to do their own thing and maybe allow integration. You know what I mean? Keep your eyes open, y'all.
Yeah. I'm excited for the metaverse as a Persona fan, just to see like, I'm going to walk around a metaverse of Twitter and see like the people who shit talk me, like doing the fucking Sonic mascots, like you're shit. I'm like, wow, thank you. Now I get to really interact with you. Yeah.
You want that level of interaction.
Oh man, I can't wait. Last thing is just a correction from Anthony Mathers. Hi, Dukes. Minor correction from last week. You guys seem to be making a big to-do about a few games leaving Game Pass on November 15th, as this could signify something, but that's very unlikely the case. I've been trying to play through all the games that speak to me on Game Pass all year, and I'm almost caught up. That's great to hear, by the way. As such, I watch what's leaving and prioritize any of those games before they're gone. I've noticed the pattern. 90% of the time, there's been a few exceptions. Games leave on the 15th and the end of the month, every month, with Microsoft giving a heads up 2 weeks before or right before the last batch leaves. Thanks. Why did I say leaves? Leaves. Thank you guys for becoming the premier Xbox podcast. Thank you, Anthony, for the correction. Very important there.
Yes. Big time.
Right,
man. Not necessarily, not everything is up to something. Sometimes it's just a cadence. But I like what he said in reference to if you're playing Game Pass games, knowing, hey, this is about to leave in 2 weeks. Let me get on that because I don't, before it leaves. So.
Efficiency.
Yes. Big time.
All right, let's get into what games we're playing this week. Cog, I want to hear from you because you finished Disco Elysium.
Yes, man. What a ride. It was fantastic game. My only negative, I will say, towards the end, I felt it dragged a little bit and it was a lot of back and forth, fetchy kind of stuff.
Sure.
But when I got the payoff and I'm like, okay, I love this, and everything mattered. Everything.
Nice.
Everything I did had a consequence and stuff like that. And damn, I don't want to spoil because me talking about it definitely spoils it. But I would say, this is one to keep an eye on. I know we're going to talk about another potential game that could be potentially inspired by a Disco Elysium that we'll get into later. But
Obsidian.
yeah, woo! You already know, #1 draft pick for me. But yeah, man, like I'm excited. Disco really, I didn't expect it to grab me the way it did. So that's been my whole Disco thing.
How
Give it
long
a
did
shot.
it take you, by the way?
It took me longer than most. I would say it took me about 25, 30, but I'm doing everything.
No, dude, that sounds great to me because I remember when I first got in this game, I was talking to Carrick and he was talking about it, how great it was, how deep it was. I thought it was like an 80-hour game. But here it was like 20, 30 is what people started telling me.
About 30. And I took
way better.
spaces between, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, you could beeline it, but it got meat to it. It definitely has meat to it. So salute to Disco Elysium. That obviously I really now been playing Forza. Like Forza, I really dived in. And I have to say, I got to shout out the crew. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy DJ. He's the one who bullied me into early access because I would have waited. You know what I'm saying? Played it when it came out. But man, let me explain something to you. Like, we talked about the visualization. We talked about this on Ultimate and everything that it deserves. It's getting the proper credit. One thing I didn't really go in depth with is playing in a convoy, an online convoy with up to 6 friends.
Yeah.
We're in this open world. I'm the convoy leader. I could kick it off. Then we could do racing teams. So it's like, you don't have to do competitive. It's like me, you, we on the same team. So we're going against the AI or other races, right? So it's a matter of how many points we get based on our finishes. So even if long as we get in the top, you know, some of us do decently.
Yeah, you gotta dust them.
Yeah, it was so much fun. We was doing off-road, all that, man. And the actual questing where you go to, you know, like different areas, like you open a new section of the map and they're like, hey, find this, jump over this crate, do this. Like you could all do this together in the world. So the game really can be played for the most part fully in a convoy. And that impressed me. So salute to them. And I just started Guardians of the Galaxy very early. Hour or two in. I just booted up, and then as soon as I booted up, the homies was like, yo, Forza, what's up? And I'm like, all right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's been the 3 right now that I've been doing. But what's been going on with you, game-wise?
Well, I just wanted to shout out real quick with Forza. I mean, one of the things that you really touched on there that was great with Horizon 5 is I was complaining about this with Far Cry 6 is there's a lot of games that don't have that synchronized co-op, right? It's like you join their world. But in Forza, like everyone's progressing together and you expect it, but when you realize it's not there is when it hurts the most. And after going through that with Far Cry for my review, and like, man, a lot of games do this. Like a lot of games just let you join your friend as a partner, but not progress your game. So once you got to wait for them to play the next time. What I love about Forza is there's just that you can hop in by yourself or with a friend. You're always moving forward. Really, really important touchdown for that game. So I've been playing a lot of old school stuff. One of them is for Retro Rebound, Sonic Adventure.
Ooh,
yeah, classic. So we got a really close friend who loves this game. Favorite game of all time. My girlfriend, huge Sonic fan too. Always contentious in the relationship. You know, we don't like that. But she loves Sonic Adventure. She's like, she even got real with me. She sat me down one time. She was like, you're being closed-minded. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, when the girl says that, okay. She's like, you're being closed-minded. I was like, I am open-minded. I'm going to play it right fucking now. Just show you. Yeah. So I wanted to make a video for Retro Rebound too. But my friend pointed me to a mod that put this in like widescreen. It upscaled everything. I gave you the Dreamcast models.
Nice.
I've put 10 hours into it. I've kind of enjoyed it. So,
second kids want to hear that. Could you repeat that?
It's solid. You know, here's the thing. What I don't get is there are these, and I'm not trying to talk down as a content creator who makes very long videos. Like I get it. There's just things we're passionate about, but there are people who have made like hour-plus videos breaking down the story of Sonic Adventure. I don't think I could do that for KOTOR, and that's a pretty deep story. I understand why people love it, but I don't get why it's like that level of.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. I don't know about that level. Yeah.
But it's been solid. I'm gonna make a video talking more about that in Retro Rebound on Retro Rebound in detail. I've been playing KOTOR on Switch. Aspire sent me a code for that, so it's been real nice getting back to my my baby. Love KOTOR. I usually did an annual playthrough, but when someone had told me earlier this year, like, yeah, we're doing the re-release and it's gonna be on Switch, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold off and wait till then. So it's finally here. The freaking me has noticed a couple of things off with this port. First thing is the audio. So there's a lot of little audio cues like sounds monsters will make, like the rat ghouls or the Gamorreans, like little pig squealing sounds.
Mhm.
None of that's in the game. No sound cues, like if your guy goes to do or a girl goes to do security on a door, like they'll say "got it" or something. They don't
Right.
say that. Like the audio cues are just gone, completely removed from the game.
Interesting.
I also think this is a port of the mobile version because the HUD at the top that says like combat engaged takes up a quarter of the screen. It's fucking huge. Whether I am docked or I'm in handheld mode, it takes up a ton of the screen. I'm like,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
ridiculous.
weirdly in the way.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing I noticed. And also runs well, 60 frames.
Okay.
Frame, which 2003 game, I'd hope so. Frames drop whenever there's any type of smoke or fog on screen and there's combat. So when I get to Kashyyyk, I'm going to be very interested to see how that turns out because
that area,
the underworld there is where there's a lot of fog and stuff.
Low performance.
So we're gonna see, but it's been great to get back to this. It's a game that I'm looking at in a different light as I'm writing my own game. You know, I'm looking at KOTOR as a huge inspiration for how dialogue is paced out and how the responsiveness and the interaction between your characters. I mean, my God, BioWare was so good at that time. It makes you feel so insecure because they're just so good at this time. There's some of the best in the game. So
peak BioWare.
Absolutely. And it was incredible. So it's been great to go back to this. I will definitely be finishing this playthrough because I just can't help myself. And I got to just shout out playing this in bed. Last night, I laid in bed. It was like 2 a.m. And I was like, I should go to bed. But I was like, no, I got an opportunity here. Like it's KOTOR in bedtime.
Let's go.
And I had that moment. I was like, this is amazing. I know you could kind of do it on your phone, but the phone's a communication device.
I know.
Not a game device.
That. I get you.
I wanted to play it on my Switch. I did. And it was just, it was incredible. I actually was so happy, man. It was great.
That's what's up, man. That's cool to see it. I love, that's the beauty of the Switch, right? That is just one of those things, that pure gaming portable device. And I love it. And you have those moments, right? Bed, doctor's office, plane, train, whatever. And you love to be able to still continue the game.
Absolutely. So really thrilled about that. Oh, other note for those who are like me and freak out about this stuff. When you put the Switch in sleep mode and you have KOTOR running, it runs up those hours. So I already have like 30 something hours, even though I'm only on Dantooine. I'm a freak, but I don't got that many hours. I got probably like 5 hours in it. Not that many. So, just know, ladies and gentlemen, that will run up your clock. So if you want to keep accurate play hours, you might want to close that before shutting down.
Fair enough.
Last thing, I'm playing Elden Ring, or did play. Elden Ring. Yes. Much to
that must be nice.
Furman's chagrin, I have been playing Elden Ring. Hold on.
I got to stop you right now. I want to send my condolences to everyone who received an email stating that they're not in the damn. I don't mean to laugh. Yeah. I just see the pain and anguish in people posting this thing. Yeah. I just had to get that off.
Dude,
sorry.
It's the one time I'm seeing people like consistently share like, "Fuck, I got rejected." Like everyone's upset. It sucked, man. I feel bad. I thought they were going to let way more people in than I thought. Yeah, I'm so used to nowadays. Like we're doing a beta, it's closed, but everyone gets in anyway because it's just marketing. At the end of the day, I'm surprised that they kept it relatively closed. It seems, but I have a full preview up on my channel. But I just got to say, and I say this with no hyperbole, because I've been previewing games since 2014. I started off my video like this. I cannot emphasize how good I feel about Elden Ring. It is everything you could have wanted from this game so far. That preview told me this should be a very special game. I hope it stays that way, but there was like 8 bosses in this one region we could explore in the closed network test.
Wow.
Both, mini and ones you could find in catacombs and dungeons, and the main boss. It is absolutely beautiful. There's secrets around every corner to explore and find. It reminded me of Skyrim. I fired it up and I walked out into the open world and I felt those. I haven't experienced this in a while. That's why it was so special to me, and why I came out and was like, this game is the best preview I've ever had. And I feel really good going to launch. Is when I walked out, I was like, this is like Skyrim. And y'all know how special Skyrim is to me. It's like one of my favorites of all time. Like I walked out in that world and I got this actual rush through my body of like, oh my God, okay. Take a breath. And then combine that with the danger of the world. That's what's special about this game. That's kind of the thing that gets you going, is the danger. You're so used to it, you don't realize it again until you're playing it. But when you're walking around in Dark Souls, Bloodborne, one of my favorites, man. Bloodborne's excellent. Any of these Souls games, Sekiro even, because these environments are so confined, you always have your back to something, like a little safety net, right? You always have something to your back. Not in this. So the second you walk forward, it was like oh God, like you like wanted to hide against something, but you couldn't. And there's an adjustment period there of like, what direction do I go in? The game provides a gentle guiding hand, like kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, where you could use the wind. This game has like little glowing gold bits. So there is a small guiding hand to get you to the next bonfire point, or they call it Grace in this game. But I'm just saying right now that this is a culmination of everything FromSoft has learned across games. Like, there's an element from every game they have made in Elden Ring, and it could just be this magnum opus moment. I'm hoping it is, but it is just really encouraging what I played, and I feel we're going to see that across the community.
2 quick questions.
Sure.
1, graphical fidelity. How impressed were you? And then 2, is the jumping, like, does it really transform the genre?
Yeah. So the graphic, beautiful game. Ran in 60 FPS when I was playing on Series X. This is the first FromSoft game, I believe, to launch at 60 FPS, which is pretty significant.
Yes.
But yeah, it looked absolutely beautiful. Now, I didn't switch to like a quality mode or anything. I just kept it at the frame rate because, with the difficulty of these games, let's just let's keep it there.
Get that response time.
Yeah, right. As for jumping, the verticality that's been added to this world is pretty insane, because you'll look up at these structures that are stories and stories high. And typically in open world games, when you look up, you're like, I'm not going up there. Right. But then you find these little wind tunnels that you can get on your steed and you can ride up them, and you go up this whole entire cliff face. And now you're on top of the world. Really impressive levels of verticality. And then with the jumping, it's little things like, going up a ledge to simple platforming. It doesn't break or change anything. It feels like a natural part of the evolution here. I'm not one of those people who tries to overly pat FromSoft on the back, because a lot of people are geeking out because it's like, you can crouch, you can jump, and this is noteworthy in their games because it's all about balance, right? It's all about being able to not cheese a boss and not cheese an area, and you have to go through the challenge, and you have to adapt to it. So what these feel like, while they're common features and were originally like hearsay, is actually like I said, a strong evolution, because it changes the way you play these games in meaningful manners.
Gotcha.
Exploring vertically rather than horizontally. And of course, the horizontal exploration is great because you have that steed. So you're going across these long stretches of land, and you could fight on horseback. I mean, it's looking top tier, man. It's really, really impressive. So fingers crossed the full game pans out that way. And if it does, we will be talking about Elden Ring at the end of 2022.
Ooh, okay. Say no more. Say no more. That's impressive stuff. It definitely sounds extremely promising.
Dude, for sure. Absolutely. I was thrilled with what I saw. So again, if anyone wants to check out the full preview over on my channel, it's available.
Yes.
But if not, this is the too long didn't read for it. All right. Let's talk to the audience with warm-up questions, starting off with Sam Fletcher. I guess by this point in 2021, Crossfire X is definitely not coming out this year. Unless I missed something regarding a date, it was just left up to 2021 earlier this year. Where the hell is this game? I'm quite excited for this as a Game Pass shooter, and the lack of more clarity on this is strange given it's a big get for Game Pass between Crossfire's brand and the new single player from Remedy. I hope you two have a New York sports kind of day. They're all trash teams, and that's cold. That's cold.
See, Sam, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna come in here and you're gonna kick us when we down, and you ain't put your team up.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We once we found out what city he at, then we're gonna get to that. But salute to you, Sam. Good question. Good question. Yeah, man, this is a good one, because this was one of those ones, Crossfire X, I really had my eye on. For some reason, graphically, it hit for me in the right notes. And then I'm like, oh, Remedy doing the campaign component. So we're like, all right, last year. And then you're like, okay, they delayed 2021. So I'm like, all right, cool. And we kind of forgot about it for a bit. And then the last thing I remember was like a Gamescom, hey, there's a trailer. Yeah. But I don't recall, correct me if I'm wrong, man, I don't recall any update on what is going on. So is this still coming out or not?
Yeah, nothing, man. Nothing on the delay. I double checked while putting the script together. I checked again just to make sure it was up here while we're talking. Yeah. Nothing on Crossfire X. No announcement of a delay, but no announcement of a date either. And you got to imagine, with Halo falling in December, you don't want to have two of your own shooters falling on the same month. But yeah, I found this to be really interesting because it's a game that I think was easily forgotten amidst what has been a very exciting fall for Xbox. And I think I could see them sliding this to January, right? So
Yeah.
having something for January, then you have Stalker in April. And I imagine in between then, I feel very strongly on the idea that Xbox should get something day one for Game Pass amidst all those February games, because that's going to be a very competitive time. You need to have something in my eyes. So if they can kind of get those beats, I think they'll be pretty set. And moving Crossfire to January gives Halo the room to dominate like I think it should. So, yeah, I don't know why they haven't really communicated this, though.
Yeah, it's weird on the communication. And actually, I want to talk to a bigger issue, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Crossfire X was part of that third-party showcase at one point.
I am actually unsure on that.
Maybe if it's not, I feel that Crossfire X and all the games that were part of the third-party showcase, I feel like some of them like really just evaporated into the ether. You know, here like Bright Memory Infinite was one. We just heard about Scorn now being delayed, but a lot of those titles I did have my eye on, and it seems like COVID and the pandemic really got a hold of it. So that's my thought process. I'm thinking that, you know, they're looking at it, they still need more work, and then now it's a matter of how do you position, right? Because you see with December, like you said, Halo's out here, and then February gonna be crazy. So I think I'm with you. I think January gotta be the month for some of these games, because the way you talk about Elden Ring, right? I'm a Destiny fan. In February, I know what's going on with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, which queen is going to? People can say what they want about Destiny, but when which queen come, a lot of these multiplayer shootery type games gonna have to bend the knee, because I know what happens. So it's interesting. Very interested in what's going to happen with Crossfire.
Our first look at Crossfire X's campaign was July 23rd, which was a part of the Xbox Game Showcase in 2020. So it was not the third-party showcase, just to be clear. But yeah, we saw this for the first time. And actually, what's funny is when I was looking at Crossfire news, it was like they broke the silence. They break the silence again. Like they just keep kind of disappearing and reappearing. So this is kind of this is common for them, as we've seen and as we've covered. But I don't know if they're going to squeeze it out at the end of this year, unless they want to put it at the end of this month, right? We know that they're having Game Pass games leaving in the 15th, but we'll see. But great question, Sam.
Yeah. Defining Duke is brought to you by Credit Karma. Are you frustrated when you're trying to apply for a credit card, personal loan, and that rejection happens? This is why you need Credit Karma to change the way people find and apply for cards and loans. Credit Karma is free. It's easy to sign up to get a Credit Karma account. No effect on your credit score. It'll even show you your approval odds, so you can choose offers that are more likely to get approved so you can apply with more confidence. It's very good with refinancing credit card debt, paying for upcoming expense. It really uses your credit card data to show your personal loan offers that are specifically personalized to you. And what I like about it is you can check out multiple loan offers side by side. Members who compare loan offers on Credit Karma save an average of 30% on interest rates, with easy to compare estimated terms to make sure you get the best deal. So what are you waiting for? Credit Karma. Apply today. Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you. That's creditkarma.com/loan offers.
All right, we got the next write-in from Triple B 851. Hey, Dukes. I commented on the last video with this regarding Xbox's short exclusivity windows, but I'll post it again since I think it's worth discussing. For whatever reason, Xbox just doesn't go to the long-term deals like PlayStation. PlayStation will typically do at least a year for all of their deals, if not more, as is the case with Forspoken being a 2-year exclusive. Whereas that doesn't seem to be priority for Xbox. Their biggest timed exclusive, Stalker 2, is likely only exclusive for 3 months if that leaked document from Epic/Apple is accurate. They seem to care more about getting games into Game Pass rather than locking them down. We've seen The Medium, Falconeer, and Call of Sea all go to PlayStation within 3 to 6 months. Blair Witch was also only a 3-month exclusive. The question is, what do you guys think about this? If the ultimate goal is to get people into Game Pass, this seems like a mistake. I'd imagine these shorter deals make it less likely to gamers on other platforms to pick up an Xbox if people know they'll only have to wait a few months. Thanks, and have an Amazon delivered your package to the wrong address kind of day. I've actually been there. It's terrible.
That hurts. That hurts, especially when it's that package you want.
Yeah, dang. Shout out to my copy of Wolverine X2 Revenge, man. Never came. Never came. Yeah.
That's foul. Damn.
I know. Amazon. I never ordered an old game from Amazon again.
Again, yeah, I don't blame you after
Went
that.
Back to took my talents to eBay.
That boy was scarred. I
Yeah.
respect it. I respect
Never
it.
again, man.
Never again. Nah, I'm with you, bro. Yeah, this is a good question. I think we have noticed this where
Mhm.
we even talked about it with Death's Door recently, right? And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we talked about how like why is it not, you know, you debut on your platform, there seems to be some level of exclusivity, but very small, very short. And I just think they've made a tremendous philosophy change. Whether it's right or wrong remains to be seen. But to me, this reminds me of the backlash they got from the Rise of the Tomb Raider situation. Remember that
Mm.
back in the day?
Yeah, that was
And
big.
yeah, that was big. They got a lot of backlash. People like, oh, that's not synonymous with your platform and you're taking it away. And they had to go on this whole spin bit.
How
You know,
times have changed.
you know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna get it. We know what that is. So at the end of the day, look, I think the way they value it is twofold. One, they realize a lot of mistakes they made in the other generation was that they didn't control the IP, they didn't own the IP, and they didn't have enough first, party studios, right? So
Yeah.
shore up that. I think their mindset is they are getting away from timed exclusive deals. And the vibe I get is Game Pass in their mind is the exclusive.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about the big games that again when it's Outriders, whatever, right? MLB The Show, you visually back for blood in your mind for it's a lot of the people, the masses think it's like an Xbox game.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't, they like, yo, I'm gonna get it on that. It makes perfect sense to get it on this
Of course.
platform from a subscription service that I'm already paying for. So I think that's just the mentality, and I've noticed it because on the opposite side, you see Sony being extremely aggressive, right?
Mhm.
KOTOR, even just recently, they just announced Spider-Man for Avengers, which was an exclusive character. You know what I mean? But Sony's really trying to lock things in
Right.
and keep it on their platform. And I think that's their way of fighting the war. And Microsoft is going to do the Game Pass thing. So it's a great question. I don't necessarily disagree with it, only
Mhm.
because obviously the KOTOR I don't like. We know about that.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with it only in the fact that as long as when the exclusivity is up on either way, let's say KOTOR's exclusivity is up eventually with PlayStation. It would be nice if you reward the Game Pass, your base with the Game Pass version of that game, and that's how I think they can kind of like offset. But what do you think? What do you think about this whole thing? Do you think it's a mistake that they are not going after more exclusives, or the Game Pass thing
Yeah.
all in?
It's a tough question to answer fairly because we want, as commentators, for everyone to experience as many games as possible, right? Like that's kind of the philosophy here, at least, where we're like, yeah, we think exclusives are necessary. They drive the platform forward, but we don't want them to have a Final Fantasy VII remake effect where it's like you're locking them down years on end. I think that's the point of ridiculousness. I think Xbox fans should have had that by now. That said, something like Stalker 2, something like Death's Door, um, I feel like these should have been held on to for a little bit longer. Because if I'm Xbox, now we're talking from that perspective, not like us as consumers, but if I'm Xbox, you will be surprised how long people will wait to not buy your plastic box. And unless Game Pass is available beyond the PC and the Xbox, I'm talking like the apps on televisions and xCloud streaming becomes more accessible and it is better with the actual quality of the streams and the lag and latency there. That's the way you're going to get people in to say like, all right, fuck it, I'll get it through here. But otherwise, right now, it's about convincing them to get into the box. I think because they can then download it and play it natively. So I think keeping that window a little bit wider, just a little bit, like Death's Door, that did really well. That was a pretty good indie hit. Like that should have continued through 2021, I think.
Mhm.
And let them go in 2022. Because at the end of the day, you have to think of the indies, right? Like someone like the developers of Death's Door, Acid Nerve, I believe is their name.
Mhm.
You want them to grow, right? And they grow by reaching other platforms. Like they don't grow by just baking in the Xbox ecosystem
Right.
where they passed 100,000 sales and who knows how much further they went beyond that. Like they need new platforms to reach new audiences. So the next thing they do is bigger, and maybe that's where Xbox locks them down longer. That's the only mindset I have there. But I agree with what you were saying entirely, which is that Game Pass is, I think, the new way to look at it. Like they may launch day and date with PlayStation, but if you can save $60 and you keep seeing Xbox present those options to save $60, I think the idea is you're weakening them over time.
Right.
They're seeing what do you care about the most, and
Right.
eventually you'll bend the knee and say, "All right, I'm going to
Exactly.
Xbox, and I'm going to roll the dice on things that I think will come to Game Pass.
Yeah, I think that's their strategy, and I think Sony's strategy. And I told a lot of people the Xbox could be. I think at the start of the generation, I remember hearing reports of how Sony is going to be extremely aggressive with exclusives, because to me, that's the way they have to try to combat the Game Pass thing. It's like, okay, you're not getting it at all. We are holding this away, whether it be Final Fantasy VII Remake, KOTOR, and so on and so forth. It's an interesting next gen battle. And then we talk about what I always keep talking about when we had Grub on. It puts third parties in a position. Which bag do you take? Or you do the Square Enix and maybe take both, where you give the exclusive to the PlayStation up front or whatever, and then after that goes down and maybe you don't have success, then you got Game Pass kind of as that shoulder to lean on when things get a little rock, because you know that bag is there. So it's a very interesting. I think this is the silent war going on right now between third-party publishers.
Absolutely. And we'll also be looking at what kind of exclusives Xbox wants to nail down in the coming years. And those games, I think, are very telling for where they could be heading. But for now, we're seeing shorter windows for certain games. But I think the Stalker window, if that ends up being true, will be telling, because that's a pretty, in my eyes at least, a big game. That's like a bigger budget game. I would like to see how long they plan to hold that one for, because that would be, to me, one of your compelling offerings if you had that exclusive for a year, say. So we'll see on that one. All right, we move on to Tyler Brown now for our third opening question. Hey, Dukes, have you guys seen the rumors of Halo Infinite's multiplayer launching on November 15th? In the Microsoft Store, the multiplayer portion says coming soon, while the campaign portion says December 8th. Not only that, but November 15th is the anniversary of Xbox/Halo Combat Evolved, so it seems to check out. I fucking hope it's real, he says. Unrelated, but with the success of Forza Horizon 5's early access last week, I can definitely see Microsoft doing the same thing with Halo's multiplayer. I'd love to hear both your thoughts on this. Love the show, and of course, have a soggy cereal kind of day. Ooh.
Soggy cereal.
That sounds like self-sabotage, right? Because you got to let it get soggy. Unless
you let that happen. I agree, man. Tyler, you know, you seem to be knowing things. Yes. Tyler brought this up so I could talk about it. Now, I did hear this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you and I have heard the same thing.
Yeah, we seem to be, we have some signals that are definitely matching. Look, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it if it is true. And Halo multiplayer component launches on the 15th. Man, like I'm conflicted, because there's a part of me that's like, that's a megaton, right?
Yeah.
We did hear the announcement from Greenie, which we'll get into, right?
Oh, we will.
But I know you got a lot to say, right? So I had a mindset coming in, but I knew they had to do something, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, what does it serve if they did this? If this is true, what does it serve? And I'm like, well, they break the internet. Because if you hit your base and say, and right now you can play, and it's the game and not a flight, that is huge. And I do have some, I'm gonna say inside baseball, but obviously, like I told you, I had Patrick Wren, senior designer, multiplayer designer, 4343 on on ILP. He has now left. He's now he's a Respawn now. He's at Respawn doing single player, I guess, to the Star Wars franchise. Hopefully, probably shout out for all of maybe, right?
Oh yeah.
So my thing is, the vibe I'm getting is this multiplayer is done. The vibe I'm getting is that this could possibly happen. I just want to know the repercussions and the mindset. I understand taking advantage of Xbox 20th anniversary.
Yeah. I want to know how they flip it. Do they want to get all this like positive energy and say, hey, by the way, right now, to Tyler's point, you pre-order, or every Game Pass member gets this, and then they offer the campaign early access. I'm very curious on I want your thoughts on this, because I've been racking my brain on this one. It's
This is true.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you and I had heard the same thing, that this was definitely something that could happen down the grapevine. And I have been doing the same thing. I've been racking my brain on it, thinking, why? Right? Why the public commitment to like constantly, we're releasing them together. We're releasing them together. Like Phil Spencer said it, Joseph Staten said it. For them to go against that, I think would provide that shock that they're looking for, like, oh shit, now. But do they miss out on what I think could be a crucial marketing campaign? Let's be honest, of ramping up, building it up, saying like, here it comes. You know, like let's do the TV spots, those types of things. Or do you do the TV spots and say like the multiplayer is available now, campaign coming later? I wonder. And again, I think since that initial flight test, that positive reception has been very telling to 343, right?
Oh yeah.
I just still though can't wrap my mind around the idea of them doing this, and maybe that's a good thing, right? Because it seems so unfathomable. It goes against what we've heard about the development cycle of this game, that they're coming in hot for a landing, which by the way, that wasn't a source. That was 343 saying it.
Yes.
We're landing this plane, like we're coming in hot. So I don't know. Like we're just going off what not even sources are saying. We're going off what the studio said. For them to release it early would be both a sign of extreme confidence in a part of their product, but also could be very self-destructive if it doesn't pan out.
Also, let's talk about the elephant in the room, you know, because me and you have been on team delay.
Yeah.
And we all feel that the multiplayer has garnered so much positive response. You kind of was eased into like, okay, campaign could be okay. But if this, hypothetically, if the campaign maybe wasn't the strongest.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then you kind of do this goodwill, right? And ease your way into December 8th. People are like, oh, yeah, hey, look, we're rocking, we're rolling. Yeah. And then you maybe do your little early access. Yo, buy right now. You get it. The campaign or whatever. It's interesting. I'm not saying it's definitely bad. I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying I'm trying to understand the mindset, because you have said it perfectly. They have almost talked themselves. Phil has talked about not separating. They've had this mantra that it's coming together as a complete package, that they will not separate. So this, by them doing this potentially with this rumor, that's them kind of breaking that mold. It's a separation, regardless of how you want to say it. It's a separation, and that's something I didn't expect for them to do. Now, marketing wise, I could see you generate hype. You get the zeitgeist. November, if you want to get the uptick of what you expected, I guess. Yeah, I'm conflicted.
Yeah,
I'm playing it.
I think there's also, oh yeah, same.
Yeah,
I got two ideas. Number one is I think that they could do. What would you think about, say, okay, November 15th to the 20th, we're doing a little early access program. Play the multiplayer experience. Your progress is over.
I got to shut you down right now.
Oh yeah.
The only reason why I got to shut you down, just for a second.
No, please.
Again, this is the rumor. Right. So don't say Cog said it. Definitely.
Right.
I challenge some sources on this, right? Because I refuse. I'm with you, Maddie. I'm like, not the full game. This going to be the flight, right?
Yeah.
A map, right? I was told vehemently, no. Full game. So this person, whoever this source is, but that shall not be named, they're on trial come November 15th, because I want to see what happens. Like, I'm at the point now, I don't even care what happens. I just want to see, because it would be unprecedented. But I literally gave these sources an out. You mean the flight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay. So continue. I just wanted to put that in the energy universe.
Perfect. That's good to know, because number two really has to do with Microsoft. And I know we won't be complaining if this happens, but it does bring into light trusting them. And I know that sounds silly, because it is possibly a good thing that they're going to do here.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about this, of course, with our first news item of their way of saying things and doing something else. And again, this point will make a lot more sense when we get to our first news item, but this would be another part of that, where they not only just said it once and you just found a headline, it's there, it's sitting there, and they had to change internally, but they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times have said, yeah, we're together, package, releasing together, complete. Like every time it was brought up, they stood by that. So that's the one reason why I would push back. If they didn't double down on that so often, I'd be like, yo, this is going to happen. I could totally see why they do it.
Great argument.
It is something that remains to be seen, and yeah, like you said, trial by fire for this source for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot, but I cannot wait for Monday.
All right, Number 4, Alex Kilgore. Hey, Duke Bros. With 20 years of Xbox coming up very soon, it hits me with some nostalgia. I remember getting an original Xbox from my uncle who worked at Blockbuster. I played Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Star Wars, Republic Commando, Jade Empire, and Fusion Frenzy. This started my love for Xbox. By the way, that is a great starting package to have when you open your first
awesome.
Xbox. Over the years, I've had multiple gaming memories from this franchise, or from these franchises. Do you have any memorable moments / memories from the past 20 years of Xbox? My most memorable moment was during the 360 era. I was playing through Halo 3 on Legendary with one of my UK buddies. I remember us doing the Cortana level and just me scared as a small child since I was around 15 trying to get through it. He hid in the corners as I tried to kill all the flood in the level. I verbally and loudly screamed like a banshee when I started to get overrun that my mother came in and looked at me as though I was severely injured. Then realized I was playing a game and just shook her head and walked out. Love the show and hope you had I put my money in my pocket, but it has a hole in it kind of day.
Salute,
Alex. The two-timing, pissing himself in the army maniac kind of dude here. Here he is again with another story. This guy's full of them. I love him.
Alex. Yeah, continue.
No, I was gonna say, do you have any Xbox memories?
So many. I'm trying to I don't want to take up the whole show. It's too many. So I'll try to just condense. Obviously the connection with me kind of being ordained to like this console as a Sega kid. Like I said, New York City, debuts in my, in the town, The Rock, Bill Gates, my birthday. It's like, why am I not gonna like this, right? So it's just like you got all that going on, and then I'll just do 1 point generationally. So that for OG and System Link Halo forever changed my life. Having buddies in the crib, 4 TVs was kind of like mind blowing for me. I learned how to put a router and Ethernet cable together for the first time. I became a fake network engineer. Thank you, Xbox. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. 360, I would say the Halo 2 was something crazy, no doubt. But Gears, I remember what is it? Mad World, the trailer, the music. See it, and the graphical fidelity at the time. I was just like, what is this? This is different. And remember, I told you, I found out we both agree we don't care for their multiplayer, so to speak, Gears. But when they made, I believe they were the debut of like a horde mode that I remember. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another game did horde mode before it, but Gears, the way they did it and setting up station, I got addicted. So that was that. And probably the last one I'll say is just the community, not to get all sappy, but I literally went, the only reason how I was able to get to my first E3 ever was through, I found out about Xbox Fan Fest. And it was like, yo, you go, to Cali, you stay in them all overnight, and there's a whole bunch of Xbox fans in California. And I met so many people to this day that still are friends with me. Awesome. My senior editor for lordsofgaming.net, the editor-in-chief, I met him in real life at that same one that I went to. And the memories, you never forget it. You're meeting executives, you then go to the conference, you see the Microsoft press. I mean, it was magical. So yeah, like 20 years Xbox is gonna hit for me for sure. Like I definitely have a connection to it. But I am curious, Maddie, because you ride the line there. On Twitter they say this, you pony this, and bot that. This is you ride this. So I want to know what Xbox means.
No, I think like if you look at my actual history of purchases, the one generation I abandoned Xbox was Xbox One. Otherwise, I've kind of full rode the Xbox the whole way.
I don't know, Mag. I cut you because they become. I think he's taking advantage of the fact that Xbox is popular now, and that's why his channel is blowing. That's the talk.
They can talk.
Get him.
Well, the other thing is, like, I think of like the original Xbox. Like, I was back and forth even back then. Like, I would go to my original Xbox, I'd go to my PlayStation for whatever was there. Like, I just wanted to play. So that just has stuck with me my whole life. Thank God.
Gaming.
But with the original Xbox, my favorite story with this one is, I remember the demo discs were huge for me. That's how I discovered everything. There was I didn't really read many of the magazines. I'd occasionally get an original Xbox magazine if we found it like Barnes and Noble or something like that. But that was how I replayed Silent Cartographer. I replayed the mission at Hoboken in or the subway station, in Max Payne 1. I replayed fight after fight of Dead or Alive 3. I mean, there was so much there. I think Fusion Frenzy was on that disc. So to me, that was like one of my favorite moments because I discovered so many games that I love to this date on one disc.
Wow.
But of course, there's the moment I walked into Circuit City. They had a clearance bin front and center. Like you literally walked in, it was right there, $10 and under. My dad looked at me, he's like, "Get something you want." I was like, "Okay, let's see what we got here." I sift through the box, and there it is. There's Darth Malik standing there front and center. There's Bastila Shan standing to his side. I'm like, "What's this?
What's this?
$10?" I say, "Can I get this?" He's like, "Yep." And that was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and it's all said and done from there. We know what happened. So yeah, of course, that's probably my favorite Xbox memory of them all. 360 era, I don't know if I really had a specific one that I can think of outside of Skyrim. Skyrim, of course, this isn't an Xbox exclusive, but Skyrim was such a monumental game for not only my career, but just me in general. I failed a class because I was reading previews on it so friggin' much. Like, I'm not proud of that, but that's how amped I was for this game, man. Like, the midnight release, I was there. I was first in line. I was so unapologetically excited for this game. And I remember playing it, doing the rare weapon and armor guides. The DLC first came to Xbox, so my mom would give me a hooky day bank. So like some days you play hooky, right? And so I banked them all for the DLC release day. So I was there day one for Hearthfire, for Dawn Guard, Dragonborn. Like I was there for all of them, just playing them all day one, cashing in those hooky days so I could get some content done, but also because I just want to play them. And so, yeah, that was probably my favorite 360 memories because I grinded that system so often.
So question. So just for the record, you were playing these on the Xbox console long before, you know what I'm saying? Like in your early gaming history days, because a lot of people don't know these stories. They think you just popped up out of nowhere.
That's fine. They can think that. Yeah, no, I mean, if you check my gamer score, like you can see where I stopped playing Xbox, and it was with the Xbox One era. Like I grinded the achievement score up until the day the 360 was done. And then Xbox One came out. I was day one Xbox, man. I was day one. I remember that was the last time we could go and get a console outside with people. So I remember just that very fondly. I was there at 4 p.m. outside my GameStop. I had pajamas on. I had a hoodie on. It was freezing fucking cold out. I had a bunch of books with me, man. I was just grinding books, sitting there waiting for my console and then talking with people as the excitement built up. And I remember walking in the subway to go to the bathroom and like I had a balaclava on. I had like a Batman hoodie. I had like weird pajamas. I looked like a freak, man. But yeah, I just remember those things. I think I have a selfie from that day.
Salute.
And then, of course, this generation has been defined by Duke. Honestly, it really has been. It has been incredible to just be a part of the community, to be welcomed in as quickly as I was. I think it's because I was, without really knowing it, I realized sometimes when I talked about Xbox on my channel that those videos would do better. But, it wasn't like a connection in my head of like how I was kind of just naturally a part of that community until I was like, yeah, hey, we're doing this show. And a lot of people were warm and welcoming, especially higher up members, like Windows Central Gaming, their members, Rand, like everyone just kind of reached out, was like wanted to work together. And that's what I love about this community so much. Very real people.
Absolutely. It's salute, man. I love to hear it because again, I think first we're gamers first, and we're going to gravitate to the games we like. And that's just all it is. I think I just, like you beautifully explained, with a lot of the RPGs and that's it. I remember because, during that time, correct me if I'm wrong, with the Elder Scrolls series, like Oblivion, there were issues porting them over to PlayStation 3.
Yes.
So Xbox was the de facto platform.
Yeah, they built the 360. Like a lot of its tech was based off what Oblivion was going to do.
Right.
They were making that game while they were making the 360. And as for I don't know if Morrowind wasn't the same way. Morrowind came after. So the 360 with Oblivion was huge. And then porting Skyrim over to PlayStation. Oh, brother. Yeah, I feel bad for PlayStation fans with Skyrim. I do. Like, I'm not even saying that to be a dick. Like, they got screwed over with that.
They got screwed over. And I remember that being a big thing. And that's all I'll say. It's like, it makes sense. So, I was being silly. I'm being messy during your set because I heard some talk. So I'll just let people know my man has been gaming on all platforms. But yeah, a lot of his favorite games kind of was on that platform. So
Bro, I don't see anyone else standing fucking blinks the time sweeper out here. Let a guy know.
Talk, Manny. That's what I'm talking about.
I appreciate you gassing me up. I just don't try to give them oxygen.
I'll be hearing people be chirping. I'm like, nah, we not this. So I'm glad we had this segment because we had to clear the air.
It did work out well. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, it did.
All right. Number 5, we'll get into the news. People see how much of an Xbox fan I really am. Dukers, what is a game that has challenged or changed the gameplay loop for you guys and hasn't been replicated or beaten since? I'm going to cheat, and I have 2 entries. First is Child of Light, but I'm hoping that the upcoming League of Legends Ruined King game can be that game that takes it over for me. Battle Chaser Night War didn't quite hit it. My true answer is old school RuneScape. This is a great answer, by the way, when I read this, as I can't think of any other game that has given me as much enjoyment doing random skills and tasks as old school RuneScape has. I can't tell you why cutting willows in Draenor Village is therapeutic at times. It just is. Yes, salute, man. That's so true. It's so accurate.
What is yours? Oh, I'm gonna let you set off. What's yours? I'm curious.
Honestly, RuneScape would have been my pick because he put it beautifully. But to provide some variety here, of course, I gotta go to my friends at BGS. One thing that they did that has not been replicated, I think, is their pacing of exploration, and it's an intangible. So it's very hard to describe. But I think if you play a BGS game, you know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of games, like even The Witcher tries to do it. We're seeing Halo kind of do it, like Area Discovered.
Yes.
It doesn't hit quite right unless it's a BGS game. And it's because of their level of interactivity with the world, the way that they set up whatever angle you viewed something from. It's like it was designed to be that way, even though it's in an open world. Like you come in from the southeast or the northwest, it doesn't matter. Like you're seeing something that's like perfectly set up for you. You're like, that looks like a dungeon down there. What's going on? And the way they welcome you in with the HUD, and they're like, you just discovered like old man's crypt, and you find a dead body on the ground with a journal, and you pick it up. You're like sifting through the journal. It just, that again, that level of interactivity, I think, is what hits right. And I've seen games try, but just, I know BGS has their flaws, but no one has really reached that level of, I think, almost immersive exploration like they have. Like there are games that do exploration great. Like I thought when I was playing Elden Ring, I was really enjoying it. But it's like BGS's attention to detail in their dungeons, where in Elden Ring, I went into 2 catacombs and they were kind of laid out the exact same. And immediately I thought of BGS. I was like, man, no one can do what they do on that level, in my opinion. There are great games out there, but I love how they do their open world exploration. So I got to shout them out. I know that people have heard me talk them up and down the wall, but I really like their loop. It is incredibly good, in my opinion. You got an answer, though?
Yeah, I mean, I had to think. This was tough. I had some like obscure stuff, but I had to go back to, Last Stand Media's live event. And it is Mass Effect because I realized how much I love sci-fi. Oh, yeah. And I am sci-fi biased, first of all. Like, if it's something like, that's why I know you go crazy. We gonna get into the Todd Howard's comments. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into it, but it's like when I hear Starfield get talked about, that piques me even more. I want to know what they do. And he has some comments in reference to Elder Scrolls and this. I'm like, whoa, okay. So, but for me, I gotta bring it back, Mass Effect, because I do remember seeing it at an E3 trailer.
Oh.
And it was like Commander Shepard at some alien bar and was talking to someone. And first of all, the graphical fidelity was insane for its time with Unreal Engine, right? Let's just get that out. But that whole dialogue wheel, I just thought it was so cool. And it was like up, middle, left, and I'm like, all right. And then, just you connected, like you cared about these characters and you cared about whether to piss them off or to make an alliance or to make a relationship. And to see it pay forward with little things that you do can even affect someone's life, right?
Yeah.
So you had all that, and then I ain't gonna lie, like I said on one of my slides, like few games, that's why I gotta give BioWare their credit. When it comes to relationships, they make you earn it. They make you like a series of things, and sometimes you only get one shot with certain people, and then the little the algorithms about relationship where it's like, okay, well, if you mess with this person, it's a wrap for that person, and this, that, like, and they went there, like you could go there, like come to the quarters upstairs and we can discuss. Like, come on, you listen. I ain't the only one, man.
No,
Like
no, I know.
they touched a lot of people
Yeah.
in this way, and I want to shout them out because you see it evolve from that and Dragon Age, also relationships. Like they don't get enough credit for being bold in this space because gamers want to connect and love characters. They just do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you can have these options as well with the romancing, and then you lose someone permanently,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Mass Effect, I have to.
I just want to add to that the one thing that no one really replicates or beats that BioWare does is like Dragon Age Keep and the carryover of saves, man. Like that is, I mean, it's because it's hard and it requires a lot of writing, and you need to make a game that when you write it, you go like, okay, this thing that happens here has ramifications in a second game. That's hard to do, but they need to be commended for that too. BioWare just allowing you to carry over your save and feel like that is the truest form of this is your character.
And think about this. I think Colin said it about when I talked about Mass Effect, is that think about there's things that I went back to it. I'm like, I've never seen this outcome. But I never, oh wow, you can, spoiler, kill Samara and have someone be in her place, which is the sister, and she's like this evil thing. But think about this. Think about how much effort it took to create a possibility that such a small percentage of your base would actually even see from a resource standpoint, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It got to be commended.
100%. So those are our opening questions. We'll be talking with more listeners throughout this episode as we have a lot of write-ins. Let's get into the news, though, starting off with number 1. Are you hyped for the anniversary event on November 15th? Xbox is politely requesting you dial that down to 0. As per usual, a tweet from Aaron Greenberg, who is GM of Xbox Games Marketing, has posted about expectations for this event. Quote, "Note, this is a celebration stream the team has put together for our 20th anniversary, so not designed as a news beat or for any game reveals," end quote. It appears that Xbox remains scarred from the disastrous third-party gameplay showcase. Now, what I did after this, Cog, I read this and I got pissed because they've done it again, right? And I know some people are going to think I'm leaping way ahead here and going like, Matt, we want those expectations checked. We don't want disappointment. But here, what I did was I looked up whenever they have dialed down expectations and what happened. Okay. So I went back to Game Awards 2020, right? I didn't do this like years and years ago. Game Awards 2020, we were told to dial expectations, quote, way down, end quote. And what we got was a reveal for Perfect Dark. We got confirmed that Microsoft Flight Simulator was coming to Series X. And while this isn't an Xbox thing, it's an Xbox character, Master Chief was put in Fortnite. I still think that's worth talking about. But that was when expectations were dialed way down. We got Perfect fucking Dark. Okay.
Yes.
Xbox Bethesda Roundtable. Expectations are set at it's not focused on news or reveals. And it confirms exclusivity for future Bethesda games. They added 20 new Bethesda games to Game Pass. And they announced a new Xbox Bethesda E3 showcase. I don't know. For something that's not focused on news, sounds like news to me. Now, E3, I thought was set properly. They said they'd focus on games, and they did just that. We did the Tokyo Game Show 2021, where expectations were dialed down. They say no major reveals or announcements as our game teams are focused on continuing to ship big releases across October, November, December. Yet, what we got during this showcase with cloud gaming in Japan, and by the way, many other regions, not just Japan. Forza Horizon 5 specs were revealed. They announced they are working with 200 independent Japanese creators, and the Somnium Files, as well as Scarlet Nexus, got added to Game Pass. The reason I wanted to highlight all of this is because I understand none of these are on major levels of like a new Xbox first-party game, like let's say Compulsion Games. But they continue to, like, out of pure fear, dial down expectations through the floor that none of their events are exciting. And you ask yourself before they even happen, why are you throwing them? And I want to know before I continue on and ramble, how are you feeling about this? The dial down expectations, some of the data I've provided. Do you feel like Xbox is, we made a whole DDU episode about this. Do you feel like they're getting ahead of themselves at times?
This is tough. This is tough because I feel everything you're saying to my soul. Right. I feel it to my core, to my plums. Remember that? So it's like, bro, it's tough because with these type of events and these type of shows, if you're a fan of the platform, you want to get excited. You do, right? And I get their side where it's like, look, we've made some snafus. We've, said there's going to be gameplay when there wasn't gameplay. I get it, you know what I mean? But it just, I'm torn because the intellectual side of me says, no, they're right. They're right. You can't do it because if you do, you let people run around and say crazy stuff or say 5 studio. I remember with the E3 this year, people were like, yo, studio's going to be announced. They're going to announce Avalanche. They're going to announce this. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? And then they kind of, did that. They didn't do that. So here's the thing. There's still a part of me that feels, and we've said this on that fateful ultimate when we talk about Microsoft and messaging and miscommunication, right? There's a part of me that still feels your competitors don't have to do this. Your competitors don't ever say, hey, Nintendo fans, don't come in there getting excited about anything.
Mm-hmm. Hey, please don't.
Don't, you know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. And neither does Sony. And they don't seem to pay for it because I see the other 2 bases shoot for the stars and there's no whatever. So it's a tough one, Maddie, because on one hand, I have seen situations where studio acquisitions don't happen, something don't happen, and dudes be like, yo, Xbox, what the yo, you know what I'm saying? So I get it, but it's just like, it just feels like a wet blanket when you see that greeny statement. You're like, oh, okay. So we ain't gonna, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, like I don't think expectations were wild for this one. No one I saw was thinking studios. No one was thinking big game reveals. Like we were thinking typically.
Some people were though. I did see a few.
I was thinking updates maybe on games. Right. That's good to know. But like real new game reveals when you have the Game Awards right around the corner, no. I think realistically most weren't expecting that. So that's what I'm seeing here. And this kind of rolls back to what I was talking about with what could happen with Halo is you're seeing that if they end up saying, hey, Halo's out, even though they doubled down, tripled down on the idea that, hey, we're going to do Halo together in one package, and they ended up not doing that. We see these events where they say, dial down these expectations, and we're not doing news. We're not doing any game reveals, and they do reveal shit, and they do make what are absolutely headlines, especially in the case of something like the Game Awards or, of course, the Xbox Bethesda Roundtable, dialing those down. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know what the thought process is when you're like, hey, we're not focused on news and reveals, but you confirm 20 new games to Game Pass. You announce a new E3 showcase in a new format. And plus exclusivity, like that's news. Like why?
Yeah, no, that's news.
And I understand the notion that, third party showcase kind of burned you guys. But was it really, was it that bad? Was it that disastrous?
They did get dragged, bro.
They absolutely did. But I'm not trying to talk like, we're a year plus out from it now. So it's easy to forget being in that moment. I know because we saw the CGI, but like, that's not a hard thing to remedy. You work in games. You can look at it and go like, okay, when we call it a gameplay showcase, make sure there's fucking gameplay. That should not call for everyone to smush every consecutive event that is not E3 from Xbox. I'm sorry, but it's just, I'm not looking to get hyped here. I'm just saying, like, when you check expectations, I don't think that they've really nailed what those expectations should have been. And I don't know if they're trying to do a little reverse psychology. Like, yeah, man, like, there's nothing here. Oh, look, whoops. Oh, you're happy? I just think it looks asinine, if I'm honest. And I'm not trying to rage here. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
No, I feel you. I mean, if we want to get to what was it, Frog's?
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
Which is kind of a, and then I'll comment after.
Sure.
Frog, yeah.
Frog writes in saying, hey, Dukes, with Aaron Greenberg's recent clarification that the Xbox 20th anniversary event was, quote, not designed as a news beat or for any game reveals, end quote. My question is this another case of Microsoft creating an event with lowered expectations in mind? I know celebrating a huge anniversary will be fun, but it feels like once again, expectations are being tempered quickly for an event that many thought would be bigger than it actually might be. I hope to be wrong, though. Thanks as always for having a power going out while your game is downloading kind of day. Absolutely worst. All right, so you had more to say on this, so let's follow up with what Frog had asked. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think you answered it. I think you literally answered. You came to the conclusion, and I think what it is what you said. What's the expression? Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
They have made an internal mantra, in my opinion, that they're never going to get caught out there again hyping anything, right? So they rather take the hit coming in, telling you, hey, which doesn't feel good, but saying, hey, don't expect nothing crazy. And we just talked about this rumor, which would be a bombshell if true, right? Mm-hmm. Halo's multiplayer possibly launching, right, on this date. That's a massive thing, right? So the way I look at them now is I read the verbiage, and the verbiage says no new games, no new news, new reveals. So the vibe, that to me, that keeps them in the realm of, well, we technically didn't say we could talk about new stuff that could be happening for Halo. Right. It's like legal speak. Like, to me, that's what they're doing right now. It's just finessing legal speak. And then you don't set these expectations. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, I think that's what they're doing now. And I think they rather get the pleasantly surprised feedback that something more than nothing happened than, you know what I'm saying, that we be raging and stuff like that. And it's an interesting philosophy. I don't know if I 100% agree with it, but this seems to be the actions that they're taking.
Yeah. And it's one of those situations where you know the hows and whys of it for once. Yeah. But I just don't know if they need to get ahead of every event. I think there are certain ones where they could check expectations. Like, I think Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show could have been a time, like, let's check expectations. Like, a lot of people want us to make big moves in Japan. Like, hey, this isn't the time we're going to do that. Right. I think that makes sense. But like the Game Awards are like, yeah, dial expectations way down, and then you announce your brand new studio's new game, Perfect Dark.
Huge.
Yeah, I think that's, and maybe it's not a big deal to them. I don't know. That's the thing I just don't get. And I want to be able to believe and trust what Xbox says. That's kind of my main point here is, if we see that the Halo stuff end up being this full early access thing, look, again, I know people are going to call me foolish because they're going to be like, yo, Matt, like, come on, Matt. Like, this is nothing worth complaining about, but it's just about the consistency of, they say a thing and it happens that way. And that's what you got to look to the leaders of Xbox to do. Say a thing and it happens, right? Like, not this ping pong back and forth. Like, yeah, we shot down here. We're up here though. Or we shot up here. We're down here. It just the up and down roller coaster expectations. And again, you put it beautifully, and it must be reiterated. Your competitors don't have to do this. Even I got to say, a garbage tier state of play does not need to check expectations. Let fans do what fans are going to do. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
The only reason people blew back on the gameplay showcase was because you didn't show gameplay.
And you literally said gameplay in it.
Like, that's no one rumor mongered you on that one. That's my point. Like, no one destroyed you on this. It was literally your own doing. So I don't know what the dastardly fear is here, because it was so easy to fix. And now in hindsight, it's easy as hell to not replicate.
I think the gameplay thing did do damage though, because I remember not only from a content creation standpoint, I remember seeing outlets, big outlets, like drag them, and it scares them to death, I guess, in a generation where, let's be honest, they're second, third place, you want to say, whatever. Yeah. If you want to be, because a lot of people, we act like Switch don't exist. You know what I'm saying? So, Switch is out here, So at the end of the day, I think that position, they're just so worried about dropping the ball and messing up, and they have to do as much goodwill, because everything they've done, let's be honest, is so pro-consumer, pro-whatever, that they just want to be in the good light all the time. And I think that's why they're being so extra careful. They just don't want to blow it. I think I figured it out. And also, another reason is, let's be real, the Xbox One generation where you exited stage left, where they lost you, that was the king of the snafu, the king of bad messages, and we got a game for you, and digital online, and that's why you're getting this level of transparency. I feel it's been the vibe I get is this is a rallying call internally for this generation that last generation can never happen again, because they were internally. I've seen accounts where people were going to Phil, the morale was so broken and low. Like, they had to make all these changes. So I think that's what it is. I don't necessarily like it. But to your point, which I do agree with you. Right. It's not their fault. As long as you're clear what the mission statement of the event is, right? You don't have to temper. You just be clear about what you think, what's going to happen, whatever. you don't have to say what's not gonna happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think when you say that, it gives that feeling that you don't like, right? That negative connotation, like,
Sure.
damn, I can't get dessert. I can't
Yeah.
get, so like as a
Yeah.
kid, you don't want to take your kid to McDonald's, no burgers and no,
Yeah.
because now you put the kid in a negative. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm a Happy Meal again.
Yeah. No, great points. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Of course, this episode goes live on Sundays for free feeds. So I'm sure people who hear this will be able to just like backhand me immediately.
Oh, yeah, they're going to come for us either way.
No, not even you. I'm the one who was complaining. So it's just on arrival.
No, you're not. But bro, you're not the only one. A lot of people.
Oh, really? I didn't see anyone.
Yeah, no, you're not alone on this. A lot of people tell me, why is it that Xbox fans have to temper their expectations? Why only Xbox fans?
Yeah.
I hear this all the time.
Yeah, and it also begs the question of, if it's this attempt to stay safe and there ends up being things there are going to be people who are like, well, you said nothing was going to happen. I kind of wish I was watching when this was announced or when this was shown off.
Good point.
If I guess Xbox trusts that the news mail will make it to that person, that's all that matters. But I don't know. I just think it's something they should be aware of.
It's a valid point, though. I do hear where you're coming from.
So we'll see how that all is handled. We got Jez and Rand joining the show next week to talk about whatever is shown at this celebration or not. Apparently not a news beat, so we'll see. But we're going to be getting together for a Xbox 2 Defining Duke crossover show, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a really good time. Mm-hmm. Let's move on to number 2 here. Forza Horizon 5 didn't release until November 9th, but with an option for early access, we all got to look at how in demand this open world racer truly was. Just over the weekend, it passed 1 million players in early access. Keep in mind, Forza Horizon 5 hails from Playground Games, an Xbox first-party studio, meaning this game was available mere days later as a part of Xbox Game Pass. Perhaps even crazier is the surging player count that puts into perspective the performance of prior Xbox exclusives as well as this one. The following information arrives via Xbox P3 himself. We've invested years in Xbox for more people to play. With 4.5 plus million players so far across PC, cloud, and console, Forza Horizon 5 shows that promise coming to life. Largest launch day for an Xbox Game Studios game, peak concurrent 3 times Forza Horizon 4 high, and thank you to the players, as well as a congrats to Playground Games. All right, we got a lot to talk about here. Most of our write-ins were about Forza, man. Most of them were about Forza. So how are you feeling about these numbers? I mean, they come in and they pretty much say, well, this is a moment to celebrate with Forza. 4.5 million players, man. That's their most for an Xbox Game Studios title.
This is mind-blowing. I'm not going to sit here and act like and lie and say I expected this. Like this is because the part of my thinking was, we know the running joke, Halo Gears Forza, it'll do well, right? But you know what it showed me? It showed me, Maddie, that if Xbox first party really delivers quality, bro, it's gonna be really scary.
Yeah,
that's what this showed me, because we'll recap a little bit later. Like I'm looking at the year, right, and it's like, boom, you got the Forza. You had Age of Empires, you had Flight Sim, you had Psychonauts. This is a solid year. Then we want to see what happens with Halo, but it's like, if any of these hit this 90 Metacritic, shout out to the cause Eric side, going by.
Forza shout out right there.
Yeah, Forza shout out. I see that. He's like, turn up. Yeah. I like that. Good time. But it's like if they hit, man, it just transforms the narrative. Like it really does. Because now you start to feel like, yo, this is stacked. We got a stacked team, right? You almost feel like, again, it's 4.5. And the last point we'll get into when we get into the question is just in reference to this paid part. And I want to touch that, if we want to transition right into that. This is amazing.
Just one more stat I wanted to throw out there is Warzone. Probably one of the biggest free-to-play multiplayer options you have out there. In its release, and it amassed 6 million active players.
Whoa.
So just to know that Forza's knocking on the door with that one is pretty crazy. Is very, very impressive. Now, granted, this was within 24 hours of its release, so Forza had a couple of days to build that up. Yeah. The fact that it's sniffing that territory in its technical launch window where it's actually arriving on Game Pass and people can download it and play it, plus those who paid early access, I think it says a lot. So I just wanted to throw that stat out there for everyone who's curious.
No, that's huge. It puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we got a write in here from Will Hernandez to kick things off. Hey, Dukes, on the last Sacred Symbols column was pretty animate about how Game Pass fundamentally changes the way Xbox users buy games. He said Microsoft is training Xbox users to not buy games, just wait for everything to come to Game Pass. But yet, there were more than 1 million people playing Forza Horizon 5, a first-party title no less, over the weekend before it officially dropped on November 9th. People shelled out $100 for the premium edition, while others bought the DLC bundle to unlock the game early, which, by the way, is $45. That being said, is Colin wrong, at least in this instance? You and Cog talked about the Halo Infinite digital bundle leak. If true, that will do similar numbers, if not better, because of all the hype that surrounds Halo. Thanks for all you do, and have a multiple executives turning down the Mets general manager position kind of day. That's cold.
That's
cold, man.
It's New York team slander. Y'all got to put your teams up.
Did you see what Sandy said on a side note where he was he was like, people don't want to play here or come here because it's tough. You got to be tough to do this job. I'm like, Sandy, no one wants to fucking work with you, dude. Like, it's just simple.
Bro.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. Mets fans.
To the question. Shout out to Will. I see where everyone's going, with what Colin said. Mm-hmm. And I think there's truth to what Colin said. I think that I'm not going to sit there and say because there is a mindset that, this joint might come to Game Pass, so I could wait, right? And Xbox users, and we don't have full data, but we have some data sometimes in like in Europe, and you'll see the physical sales of a game, and you're like, whoa, this is really low on the Xbox side. Hey, what's going on here? Yeah. And a lot of it, hey, they're gonna wait for the the Game Pass version, or they get the Game Pass version, and you don't get the retail. Again, that's just one specific region. I'm not saying that's across the board for everything. I do think, again, to my point, when Xbox delivers quality from these first-party studios, the narrative is going to change. And I do feel that Forza reviewed extremely strongly from a lot of people you trust, because, yours truly, Mr. Matty Plays YouTube channel, right? From the Forza hater. If the Forza hater is telling you, this joint is fire. This is, I'm impressed. I was, I'm really liking this, right? And you get that train going. Now, a week or two, or whatever it is before launch, people are paying to play this and not wait on Game Pass. Yeah. That is a huge metric, and we're going to see if this is the pattern going forward with quality games, as well as what we talked about, the single player. Well, Forza's not single player, but I want to know if this also translates to the single player game, the Starfield or whatever. Do they do this again? Because I think this is something they will take advantage of. And I think we're in an interesting time to chart this right now. This is a good metric to see how this goes forward. But I'll be honest with you, Matty, I did not see 1 million playing before the Game Pass release. Mm-hmm. That's unprecedented stuff. Very impressive stuff.
Here's how I look at it. Number one, I think it's too early to call anyone wrong on anything. But I think there might be some truth to what Colin says if you break down the numbers just from what we can see right now.
Right.
So we know they hit 1 million before launch, which is impressive, right? 1 million people were willing to pay, but 3.5 million mostly were willing to wait to download. So I think there is truth to what Colin said. Almost, more than double the people were waiting to download it on Game Pass. And Xbox is fine with that. There's a reason why they're not talking sales, they're talking player numbers. Like, that matters to them. Getting those player counts in Game Pass matters to them. So that's all that matters, right? But I don't want to say they've been trained not to, but there's also the long tail. There's just so many ways to calculate it. Like, someone downloads it through Game Pass, but how many people bought it after downloading in Game Pass and said, like, I want this? How many people saw the news of Motorsport 7 or whatever it was getting taken off the digital storefronts because of licensing and said, I want to own this. I want to have this so I can I don't lose it. I want to play it, that type of stuff. Like, how many people hold on to it for that reason? Those are the things that we just don't have access to.
We don't have the access to,
But the reality is we saw more people probably download it through Game Pass than, of course, I'd say, like, just paying for it before launch. I think it's a good point by Colin, and it's something you need to monitor because, again, those player counts for maybe Halo and, like Cog said eloquently, what's going to happen with those single player games? Will we be able to pay for a premium bundle for Hellblade? Does this force a DLC pattern into all these games? Because, for example, Forza's cheaper option was the premium add-ons bundle. It's like, yeah, you get early access plus these little DLC packages. It's like, okay, cool. I want to just get access to the game. Does Starfield need to have like a DLC roadmap ready when it's gonna release? Because we know Bethesda Game Studios does DLC. Like, how does that work for all these games? That'll be telling. And again, it brings this whole conversation we talked about on Defining Duke Ultimate of, do we want to go down this road? Do we want to go down the road of the FOMO edition, as you call it? Yeah. Do we want to go down that road of everyone being like, I'm missing out, man? Like, they tug at their shirt, like, shit, I want to play right now, but I can't. I don't know, man. It is a slippery slope to go down that path of paying for early access, because while I understand they need to make their money somewhere where they're putting games up on Game Pass and not upping that price, it's just, I feel like, be careful what you wish for on this one.
Oh, no question. I want to add one thing too, where the data I really want to see is NPD.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I do want to see NPD. And normally I don't get crazy about it, but I am crazy about these huge AAA Game Pass releases like a Forza, like a Halo, like a Starfield. How do those do in physical retail sale? I want to know what is the effect. Does it truly drive? We're going to learn a lot. And again, it's not, even if it doesn't chart, let's say, for example, it doesn't chart 10, whatever, they may not care, right? They may like, they care about the Game Pass subscriptions, but I'm very curious. I just want to know what's the mindset of the masses when it comes to these releases, and they're in Game Pass, but do the people still buy them?
Absolutely. And hey, we got a great question on that from Odd Apps, who writes, Hey Dukes, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Forza Horizon 5 and the success of the early access. VGC reported that about 800,000 people had played Forza Horizon 5 during the early access period that went live last Friday. VGC speculates that this yielded Microsoft somewhere between $36 to $79 or $36 to and $79 million, as many of those would have bought the premium editions that were available. Now, I can already hear Corporate Cog and Mr. Money Matty licking their lips and counting that sweet cash from the boardroom. But if you strip all of that away of the marketing hot air, essentially what is happening is that if you wanted to play Forza Horizon 5 day one, you got to pay, whether you are a part of Game Pass or not. This is locked behind a $99 premium edition for non-Game Pass subscribers or $45 for Game Pass members. There was no option to purchase this separately. You had to pre-order the upcoming expansions to play day one. He puts day one in quotes. This is nothing new. They have done this for the past few entries of Forza Horizon. But how do you feel if they did this with the rest of their games, like Starfield or Fable, which are more likely to be narrative-driven games? One of the bean counters at Microsoft must have had a very good weekend when they saw these numbers, so it could be something they are considering. As a card-carrying member of Game Pass, I would love for them to use the model that they utilized for Gears 5 and have a day one as another Game Pass perk. It feels like a relatively small concession that is that if leveraged and marketed correctly could yield some big benefits for Microsoft and us Game Pass members. Love all you do, and have I want to play Forza Horizon 5, but it's locked behind the pre-ordering DLC kind of weekend. Ooh, he's rolling it right into that.
Shots. I like it. Oh, Taps, what's up, bro?
Give me 1 sec. You answer this. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. I'll rock out. Look, y'all, I hate to say it, but I think it's happening. I think it's happening big time, because you can't, again, y'all calling me corporate. I'm gonna put my corporate card on right now. Like, they're not gonna walk away from this money if this is successful. And to me, with the single player games, I totally see a scenario where they'll say, hey, Starfield, okay, Game Pass on 11/11, right? But I'm making up a date, 11/5 or 11/1 or whatever, right? Hey, if you buy the first 2 DLCs, right? Season of this or season of that, right? And, you get early access on the 5th or whatever date that is, and you pay right now, that's them hedging their bet. That's them literally saying, hey, you know what? We're going to get this guaranteed money. We're going to get these guaranteed sales from a game that they probably wouldn't get those sales from. So I hate to break it to you. I just see the bean counter's winning this. And now that Maddie's back, to reiterate, I do think we're going to see Starfield Season of the This and Season of the That Part 2 bundled with early get it now November 5th ahead of the 11th. I think it's only a matter of time. I'm not saying this right now. What I do feel what OTEPS is saying, which I do strongly agree, they need, I don't think they're going to do it, but they need to separate the early access as its own individual thing if someone is willing to pay for, instead of forcing it into the big subscription or expansion or DLC bundle. Because you know who does this? I'm a Destiny fan. Bungie does that. You know what I'm saying? And it works for them. They got people to buy this expansion. It didn't come out until February. Bro, they got us spending $100 now. And guess who bent the knee because I can't wait. And it works. It works. I'm weak. When it comes to stuff we love, gamers are weak. We talk that talk, but the bean kind of say, hey, you said you wasn't going to do this, but look what we saw on our data check.
I wonder if this will be a first-party studio thing only, because I think of something like you get Back 4 Blood day one. Yes. Is there an early access tier for that? That's where my mind sort of went as well. It's not just Starfield and Fable. I mean, you could get these new tiers of deals for Game Pass third-party acquisitions. So I thought that could be an interesting route for them to take. I think the problem here is something like Forza, something like Halo makes sense, right? There's a multiplayer component that's easily monetized that you can understand how when you pay in advance, like, oh, I want the battle pass for the next 3 seasons, a part of this premium add-ons bundle for Halo Infinite. Okay, I'm going to pay $45 to get in 4 days early. Like, I'm going to get use out of this. Whereas, what are you going to do with Fable? And this rolls it back to what Matt Booty said a very long time ago, where he was like, we're not building games for Game Pass. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. There's a reason why you guys want those service games, those multiplayer games, and as Phil so eloquently put it, and we'll talk about it, casual and social games. There's a reason you want these games. It's because they drive a lot of money. And if now you can find a way to monetize early access, I mean, that's all there is to it. And I think there's a very realistic possibility. It's not even a, hey, we'll give you this, and that. You might just pay for early access for Starfield, and that's it. Like, that just may be it. And we're seeing those tiers kind of come to life a little bit here, right? We're seeing, for example, Skyrim Anniversary Edition, just to keep on that Bethesda train, right? You pay $50, you can get it separately on its own if you don't own Special Edition. If you own Special Edition, you'll pay $20 for an upgrade. However, if you own Special Edition and you're a Game Pass subscriber, there is a nice discounted price for you. That's
bro. We might get a spreadsheet out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. We talked about this in Duke Ultimate. They might be walking that EA path of you're gonna need the chart and be like, okay, this tier over here, that's where I'm at. Okay, that's where I want to be.
Where I'm at.
Yeah, that's where I want to be. Okay, I'm gonna wait till the 8th. Then that's what's gonna happen here. And the easy solution that Xbox can kind of put their hands up and go, whoa, calm down. There is just wait and download it. It's part of the service. And a lot of people will, again, as we just saw with the Forza numbers, happily do that.
Oh yeah,
because they'll see what all the buzz is about, and then maybe they'll pay afterwards. But
for sure.
Their number one thing, as we've talked about time and time out, is to drive people to Game Pass. And if you know that thing you're excited for, you can get early. I put early in quotes actually because it's ready.
It's ready.
If you can get it earlier than others, they're gonna weaponize that for sure. So I feel pretty confident, like you do, that I think these numbers are telling, and it's either, I think, all or nothing is how I look at it. Like, you can't do. We're not going to do it for Hellblade. We're going to do it for Fable. We're not going to do it for Starfield. You're going to create an expectation real fast.
Forza set the floodgates to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is like the bean counters, the boardroom is like,
this looks pretty good to me.
Exactly. Now I can get me a new yacht. Bro, they ain't walking away from that yacht money, man.
No,
I'm telling you.
They're not. All right, let's move on to number 3 here. Todd Howard and Ryan McCaffrey recently sat down for an episode of IGN Unfiltered. It's there that Todd pulled the curtains back on his thinking behind a plethora of highly anticipated games such as Fallout 5, Starfield, and Elder Scrolls 6. For starters, the release date of Starfield appears to be somewhat firm on November 11th, 2022. When mentioning it was scribbled in pencil by Ryan, Todd stated it was put down in ink. Starfield is also fully playable from start to finish with, quote, much left to do, end quote, although it's never specified what that is. As for Elder Scrolls 6, which is assumed to drop in 2025 at the earliest, he states that this long of a gap between mainline games was not a part of the plan. However, with the brand being what Todd would call vibrant, that made things a little bit easier. This is thanks to the success of Elder Scrolls Online and the long legs of Skyrim, as we'll be seeing another release the week that you're listening to this via the Anniversary Edition. Perhaps most notable of all, at least for me, is the future of Fallout. This is a series that by all accounts is last in line with Starfield in active development releasing in 2022 and Elder Scrolls 6 due up next. Todd confesses that a Fallout 5 one-pager concept is prepared in-house to be used, so there is a plan to eventually do one. However, with Obsidian and In Exile in the family, we can only imagine the possibilities, and Bethesda may want to keep that to your imagination a bit longer. When asked about the possible movement of the IP, Todd quickly cuts himself off from saying he doesn't see that happening before mentioning that Fallout is very much a part of Bethesda and their DNA, with a subtle note that he can't say what will happen with that, only that their cadence is Starfield, then Elder Scrolls 6. Mm-hmm. We got a write in here from the beloved Emperor. Dear Dukes, both defining and ultimate. So this Tuesday, Ryan blessed us with an interview with the Todd father by IGN's very own Ryan McCaffrey. In this interview, Todd spoke very briefly on Fallout 5 and the future of Fallout post the Xbox acquisition. Much to Maddie's horror, Todd seemingly shot down the sharing of the franchise with Obsidian and In Exile. My question is this: should Xbox push for a Fallout spinoff, or are they really living up to their initial claims of leaving Bethesda to their own devices? As always, thanks for the great content. P.S. I hope you both have a sobering realization that Fallout won't, I don't want to finish this, won't return until the 2030s kind of day. It's sad as this is probably fucking true.
I'm just gonna shut up because I need to hear this. I watched you messaged me last night and we were talking about the show, and I'm like, yo, bro, I got my food. I'm like, I got Ryan on my screen. I'm about to watch it. You're like, yeah, it's going to be a lot to talk about. Yeah. So I'm here for this. This is what I showed up to work for. Let's go. What you think, Maddie? What's going on?
All right, let's play a little game. Where do you want me to start here? Elder Scrolls, Starfield, Fallout.
Let's start. Let's save Fallout for last. Okay. Because I think I know where it's going.
Because I definitely want to break it up. Like, I want you to
break it up. You know? This is we got a plethora of information, right?
Of course.
Great. We got Big Ryan in there. It was a beautiful thing. Shout out to the backdrop. It's fire.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Gorgeous.
Alduin's Wall, beautiful, man.
So let's start with Elder Scrolls, then Starfield, then Fallout.
Okay. So with Elder Scrolls, we learned that it's taking a very long time, and what I found was really refreshing about this was Todd actually sounded kind of remorseful about it, saying, yeah, this wasn't really ideal. Like, he didn't want this to happen. And one of the main driving reasons for it being this long is Starfield, where they said, if we didn't do it now, then when? And that when could quickly turn into never, likely because of things accelerating on the Xbox front, and of course them wanting to do another Fallout game. So they had to do Starfield now, this new thing that sort of reinvigorated the studio. The way I look at it is this: I'm very, 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 very excited for Elder Scrolls 6. As many people heard how much I love Skyrim through this episode, I cannot wait. But if them doing Starfield first, cleaning themselves of the cadence of Elder Scrolls Fallout, you know, of course, the damage of 76 and Fallout 4, you know, they experimented a little bit, and I don't think they quite nailed it in its entirety, although I think it's a great game.
Right.
They probably want to get back to being, they were for almost a decade, not just the studio that gave you good open world games. They were creating generation defining titles.
Oh, absolutely.
So if for them to get back to that point, they need a palate cleanser, a new world to build. I'm for it. The problem with this new world is it has now just extended the timeline of everything. And what I'm talking about is, okay, we're going to wait till 2025, 2026 for Elder Scrolls 6. We may even see it in a new generation of consoles, which is very possible.
Very possible.
That means that Starfield 2 which you think if they're not giving up Fallout, which they inherited, you think they're giving up Starfield? We probably won't see a new one until the late 2030s. That's the problem here. Rockstar has the same issue. Bully? I don't know. Whenever they're going to do a sequel, if ever, probably never. Manhunt? People wanted to see that. Probably never. Mm-hmm. They like their GTA. They did a new Red Dead. Now we're hearing a new GTA coming. That's the problem with these developers that take 4 to 5 years to make their games. They make these, we're talking Skyrim, having a new version, new content. It's long legs thanks to, of course, the modding community. Mostly thanks to them. But Bethesda just makes these games that can be replayed constantly. And so they put a pressure on themselves to make those games support that, not just through modding, but their systems as well, and things that can be built upon and iterated upon by their own community. And so that demands time. But the problem is that all of these IP, one of them is going to suffer at one point or another. And I feel especially bad for people who are just Elder Scrolls fans or just Fallout fans, or maybe after Starfield, you're just a Starfield fan. You didn't like what BGS did before, which is totally possible with how they're doing a new engine. They're cleaning up some of the guts of it all. You know, that's the big thing to me here is we're seeing a lot of companies fall prey to doing a lot of new things, and they're all being very attractive to fans, and we can't get a regular release of them all. And you want companies to do what they want to do because that's where you get the best work.
Of course.
But now when you have Xbox in the family and you have a brilliant opportunity of people who are very familiar with one of your IP to sort of satiate that, so you can maybe have a Starfield Elder Scrolls cadence, and you're even talking about not doing that. That's where I got a little bothered. But I want to dish it to you. Let's keep this back and forth, right? I could talk all day. How are you feeling about where Elder Scrolls 6 is at in this release calendar and how it's not really ideal that it's coming out this late for Bethesda Game Studios?
I learned so much from this interview. I thought this, again, shout out to Ryan, masterclass. I loved a lot of the questions. You know, Todd he's a shrewd operator. Todd's a shrewd operator, right? This is how I look at it. I agree with you. I feel with Elder Scrolls, they didn't anticipate to take this long with it, right? You know, I look at, it's interesting how they view, you know, how he was talking about Skyrim and he was asking them how much, you know, do you appreciate, do you realize what it has done and stuff like that. And he does. And he does recognize the content creator community. But I also got the sense that like Elder Scrolls Online also kind of push things even further out, right? And that game, you know, I know the different, I mean, they literally have, you know, the Oblivion series, Morrowind areas, like they've got the history, the lineage of Elder Scrolls baked into this game. Like I played it for a little bit. It was just too addictive. I can't be a slave to this in Destiny. Sorry, you just too much. You know what I'm saying? But I did like it. And they've the tremendous improvements, engine-wise, everything. They always iterated. So that's that. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, so when are we going to get this game? Right? Elder Scrolls, the next big Elder Scrolls, right? And they're working. They got the top talent and stuff like that. But again, I agree with you. It feels like way out. Yeah. Now, this is the part where I forgave him about the Elder Scrolls thing, is that I did look at the Starfield and I'm like, you know, he talked about the teams, how big the teams are and who's working on what, but they all kind of do work a little bit on all the things, right? And they do have some dedicated aspects of members working on specific things. But the vibe I got with Starfield did feel like the palate cleanse they needed to get is something that they wanted to do that they think they would never do if they were stuck between the Fallout, Elder Scrolls kind of cadence. So I'm forgiving that. When we get now to Fallout, I was like, man, like pain. Yeah, like I felt you because I'm like, Maddie ain't gonna see this game no time soon, bro. Like, I was just like, I feel for you, bro. I was like, because I'm trying to put myself, if I love something the way Maddie loved Fallout, and you hear this, and he still talk about 76 a little bit, and low-key about I'm like, yeah, that was not that fun, but nobody really would care about that right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and the part that got me was when Ryan beautifully said, well, hey, you got Obsidian.
Ryan did, just not to interrupt you, but an excellent job with this interview. There's a couple more buttons I would have pressed that as someone who just thinks about Bethesda a lot, but like he did a expert job on this interview. I just wanted to shout him out. please
Yeah,
continue.
we got to shout out, dude. OG Duke.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, like, he literally was like, yeah, you got Obsidian in the building and XL. And I ain't gonna lie, Maddie, Todd's energy didn't seem that keen about that. That's within our DNA. That's us, you know? And it's like, but if you're not going to do nothing until so we're going to go the whole generation without a Fallout mainline. So this is what I'm hoping. And this is my glimmer of hope, though. The reason why I say don't give up just yet is because one thing I learned, of course, through this interview, he has a level of moving fluidly on certain things. He talked about, I didn't know the Indiana Jones game was pitched earlier. I didn't even know that. Yeah. And that he had something going, and then that kind of fell through. And then he's like, he's still pitching. Hey, I got Machine Games. Then he got to connect over there at LucasArts.
Yeah, he's got a lot of sway there.
Oh, he got sway, man, over there doing conferences with Elon Musk. And Todd is outside. The leather jacket is outside. Yeah. He's over. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brown. I like when he bring the brown leather out. That's master class. So anyway, you know, the reason why I say don't give up hope is I think it makes sense for Fallout not to miss the generation. That is, that's money sitting on. Now, the thing is, can he emotionally disconnect to allow someone to do it? And this is the only thing I'm concerned, is that, remember I told you, I'm Team Obsidian, right?
Yeah.
Fergus and those guys. Mm-hmm. You know, I love In Exile. We both, right? Fargo and those guys. I'm not saying there's bad blood, but those two were in the building thinking Bethesda not necessarily is going to be a possibility, right? So I am worried creatively, because remember with Jez's reports, right? We don't get to hear what Bethesda, we get it still feels like Bethesda is separate from the others. Like they're their own thing. They're part of the house they live, but they got their own little house over here, and we're in this one building here. So I just hope that there's no egos, that there's, for the sake of Fallout, like, yo, you know, we all stacked up. We want this thing to go. What if Todd does the executive thing again, or get one of the major people on Fallout and they head it and say, here's our vision, Obsidian or In Exile, maybe you guys could execute. Yeah. That's the hope, because if that don't happen, this joint ain't coming, bro.
Yeah.
Not this jam.
Literally, it will, and that's no hyperbole, it will not be till 2030 that you would see Fallout again if they don't do that. That's just the reality, because they need to deliver Elder Scrolls 6. That is going to be their kind of generation-defining title, I'd imagine. And when I say that, I mean, like, we know what they do with Elder Scrolls, with each mainline entry. Like, the expectations and the hype for that game, that'll probably be the next Cyberpunk kind of game. Like that. Yeah. That is where that game's going to sit in my eyes. Like, it's going to be that, oh my God, holy shit. Everyone's talking about it. It's explosive. Anytime they do open their mouths, that could lead to some disappointment. We'll see how that all gets handled. But with Fallout, it will be a long while before we see if they don't do this. And I just couldn't help but make note of him starting his sentence saying, like, I don't see that. And he stops. And I'm like, that's a little bit of almost like a Freudian slip, him saying that like originally and then realizing in his head, wait, either there was a talk that happened. I'm not trying to overanalyze it, right? But a talk occurred or a thought crossed his head that cut him off from finishing. I don't see that happening. And maybe it's because he just had a never say never approach to it. I don't want to read too deep into it, but it's just something worth considering that he stopped himself from saying, I don't see it happening, which means something could happen. But as you said perfectly, there is this clear separation, and they're not as in-house as I think a lot of us imagined. And his answer was it very much indicated that. What's interesting is he's seen how the Elder Scrolls brand has remained relevant and satiated, mind you, through ESO. Now, is ESO everyone's cup of tea? No, but it's a much more healthy way to feed Elder Scrolls fans than what you're doing for Fallout fans with 76. It's just not there. And what I noticed was the way he was talking about his timeline of games, he was leaping over 76 like it was nobody's business.
Like
I'm sorry, but again, this was sort of this was great about this interview, is you see him like natural, unedited, and he was just kind of like, Fallout 4, and then we got Starfield. I'm like, oh, 76 don't exist now. It's almost like what we've been saying for a while, that Todd's team was out working on something else that whole time. They were not in on 76 as deep as people think. It was all the Austin team. And we saw what happened when they handed out that Fallout license. And so maybe that's what's occurring, is they feel like, okay, like he knows he's not going to say this, but like, okay, we handed this out internally and holy shit, did it bite us in the ass. We did some damage.
Right.
We want to make sure when we get it next, we're really, really hands-on with it, right? Yeah. We don't want to hand this out to Obsidian, to Exile, and they fuck it up. Which, by the way, I know we look at what the Outer Worlds is and Obsidian's entire portfolio. We look at In Exile with Wasteland 3 recently and how masterful that is. Oh. And I know it's hard to imagine them screwing up, but these are creatives who know game development top to bottom, and it is tricky. It is like a Jenga tower, right? Yeah, and absolutely. They know how easily things can fall apart. So they know nothing's guaranteed. And if they could try to guarantee it themselves, you know, and by that I mean like Todd and his team working on it, I think that's what they want to do because of the 76. And that's why I said in my review, I was like, man, the damage for 76 will not truly be felt until years after. Because yeah, it's another bad buggy launch, but it's not until after. Now we're seeing those repercussions of what may possibly occur, because now it was so fucked that they will not let someone touch it until the man himself can touch it. And by the way, I'm not calling Todd old here, but
let's go.
We got to talk if this guy's going to be in the industry come that time.
Yeah,
we got that's a decade plus. This man's been here since his 20s. He may want to retire, and understandably so. And Elder Scrolls 6 seems to be that magnum opus for him, right? And if he walks out on that, right, he's like, okay, I'm done. That is going to say a lot, right? And if Fallout doesn't get anything between now and then it's like, what was the wait for, right? What was the wait for? Because I know a lot of people like to dog on Todd Howard, and I get it, right? He's been hyperbolic at times. I think it's totally fair to some extent. But this guy sees games in a way, just like I think Kojima does. Like he makes games in a way that are very unique. Just the foresight, the design.
Oh yeah,
he's so consistent. I just, of course, I love his games, so I'm a little biased on that. But
we can't take away the greatness. Yeah, we can't take away.
There's just something there, and when he goes, it's like, well, why were we waiting for Fallout 5 and the one pager? It's like I'm sure there are tons of people I've met at Bethesda Game Studios that are very talented, but Todd's like the guy guiding the vision, right? Like he's there doing all that.
Of course. Like I said, when I heard just listening about the Indiana Jones story, I was just like, wow, like his influence is, and he talked about how much he loves it. He was getting fanboy, like Indiana Jones such as one of the greatest movies without debate.
Raiders of the Lost Ark,
Yeah, he was in his bag. I was like, okay, Todd, all right. So you got very passionate, and I think you may have hit the nail on the head, which is, 76 may have done so much more damage than we thought, and the mindset could very well be like, we will never hand this off to anyone to butcher or make a mistake, because we value this too much, and it's unfortunate because you don't want to go that long without but
I just feel there's more damage by leaving it dormant with 76 than not trying again.
But I'm going to be honest with you, man. You ain't going to like me.
No, that's fine.
You ain't going to like me. Starfield presents a problem for you. Because if Starfield hits, not that we wishing bad on Starfield. Of course, so. Bro, you said it earlier. Part 2, there'll be a new demand and a new hotness. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what if Starfield is like better than Fallout?
That's what I'm saying. What if Starfield really hit? Yeah. Then it's like, you know how gamers are. Don't get me wrong. Fallout has its base. I love Fallout. When I saw VATS for the first time, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy!" I'm blow the leg off. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's so much to it, but I don't know, man. I felt your pain on this one. I'm like, I don't think my boy gonna get his joint.
Yeah, I hold out hope that they have at least enough self-awareness to understand that with 76 being so weak, like we've seen series die in horrible ways and just go out like limping.
Yes.
And I don't think Fallout deserves that for what it's done and how transformative it was. I just don't think it deserves that. Now, we were talking about Starfield a little bit. What did you think about when Ryan was like, yeah, it's written in pencil. You don't know with games nowadays, yada, yada, yada. He goes on saying pretty much like this release date can change. And Todd's like, it's in ink.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he had his chest out. And see, this is where I like Todd.
But here's the thing.
Like,
Sorry, I forgot to add this.
No, please get your point off.
He kind of walked it back a little bit afterwards. He's like, well, there's a lot to do still. So I never want to say that, like he didn't indicate a delay was coming, but he kind of realized when he chest out.
Yeah, put the chest out. He's like, we talk too much.
Pull it back in, right?
Yeah, pull it back. That to me, that's unforeseen circumstance. I feel he know it's ready. Like his reputation. One thing I like about them, Bethesda is that sometimes when the game pop up, it's ready to go. So when he said 11/11 and the significance and the country and all that stuff, like it's ready. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe, and he literally said, like he alluded to something like questing and polish on some level, or maybe Ryan alluded to it a little bit, but I didn't get the sense that again, I don't know, but the vibe I got from him was this joint feels ready, and he said to his team well, why not? Why can't we? You know what I'm saying? Like he cared about that date, 11/11, because remember he was flirting with what the date was, what it was going to be. You're not that. You put a date a year ahead of time.
Yeah,
you ready to go.
Yeah,
you ready to go.
Yeah,
that's how I'm looking at it.
It's funny because hearing that after the reports were squashed of hey, this game is playable. It's ready.
Right.
And they're working on just fine tuning things now. And what he said kind of indicated that it really bothered me a little bit because no, not what Todd said. It bothered me because a lot of people came at me for that report. And I had apologized. I was like, yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe the source was wrong on that one.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not saying suddenly it's right. But I'm just saying,
no. Put your chest out.
What?
Talk your talk.
No, because I at the end of the day, we don't know for sure.
This.
But I remember this was a big thing. People were saying, and I was hearing it would be ready in 2020. And then Jason Schreier came out with a report saying yeah, no, it's not happening. A ton of other people followed up no, I don't know where this came from. Mm-hmm. And that just didn't come out of thin air, by the way. These were trusted sources saying this, to me at least. And I was like,
yep.
Okay. And now we're hearing Todd say oh, it's playable start to finish. And we're working on some stuff. There's again, this is where I can't say for certain, but he's not specifying what's this much left to do. I don't know. It could be the game's you can play it start to finish, but it's at 15 frames. There's
right.
I don't know what that much left to do is. But to me, that was when I heard it, I was like, okay.
No, I forgot all about that. You're right. I forgot all about that. Trying to rake my man over here. This is real talk. Nah, bro.
If it's deserved, it's deserved.
We got to keep the same energy. Because at the end of the day, you don't put that date out with such conviction a year ahead of time. And Ryan did challenge him can you play it? Is it, he's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, again, we don't have all the detail, correct. But it is safe to assume that they feel so confident about this release date that it feels like polish. Mm-hmm. It feels like they've already got the game done. They just want to hone in. Yeah. They want to hone in, tweak, or whatever. And that's fine. But then that would speak to your sources about saying, hey, the game was ready. Yeah. And to be honest, I like it in the sense that, we want the best version.
He kept saying that, the best game possible. Yeah.
You know what I got from it? Let's be real. The running joke, as much as we love Bethesda, Bugthesda, Quest, and the vibe I got from, especially after 76, you can't have the Bugthesda situations going on. No. These quests got to line up. You got to make sure things, you know how that goes. Yeah. And he said he got faction element. He literally called it. He said, because I think Ryan was like, is it going to fall in the Elder Scrolls kind of template? He's like, look, some things are inherently Elder Scrolls are going to, fans of that is going to love it, but we're going to have our spin on different things, that. And when he said that, I was like,
he was like, it's the best things about Skyrim in space. I was like, yes. Yeah,
I was like, yes, bro. I'm super hyped. I think you're validated. I know you will say it because you're humble. You got out on your sword. But bro, the stuff you were saying to me got substantiated. It got validated by what he said, by that date, the conviction on that date, and that game being done. So
we'll see. I'll try to get an interview with Todd and press him on it. I'll be like, yo, I was getting dragged, man.
Let's go.
Help a brother out. All right, let's move on to number 4. We got a lot to go through still.
We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, we got a lot.
Speaking with Bloomberg, Phil Spencer provided some insight on what Xbox's next purchase can look like. It appears they are aiming for a more casual audience. While there is no, quote, quota, end quote, and they are looking for a proper fit, Phil hopes to add more social and casual games. Quote, when we think about the kinds of genres that are usually associated with Xbox, yes, we have Roblox, we have Minecraft, we have FIFA and Fortnite, but we want to continue to invest in more social, casual content that is out there, end quote. This was, again, on the inside of what a new purchase could look like. What are you thinking about all of this?
I think it goes to what we've been talking about, right? We've been talking about the diversity of the portfolio and the weaknesses, and I think this makes sense from the family aspect. But I love that he said the social aspect, because I think this is something that, like you eloquently said, fits into the Game Pass model, fits into,
Right.
you want to feed that level of engagement and cooperative gaming and whatever, right? So yeah, like I totally see it. If they're going to be successful, they've got to get these kids.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to get these kids are playing the Fortnites and stuff like that, and the Minecrafts and the Roblox. Didn't they just recently go down? People having a meltdown. They were down for like 2 or 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was blood in the street with these kids.
Yeah,
They
I
was
know.
Roblox was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I give it to you real quick. I think this is just the, I love to hear this, because to me it validates the stuff we've been saying, which is those little, not a lot of holes they got, just a little bit, just little things they got to plug in with that. And yeah, they're going to do it. But what did you get from Phil's comment?
I think when we've seen in the last 2 years Fall Guys and Among Us blow up and what they've done on the internet, I think Xbox probably took a look at that and said, what if we had that game in Game Pass, right? Like what? Because we saw them get Among Us really late in the Game Pass.
Yes.
I don't know. Did Xbox even get Fall Guys? I don't think it did it. I don't know.
They did.
I just know it was a PS Plus game at first.
Oh man, I think it did come. Or still coming. It's maybe,
I don't
you
know.
may be right.
I don't
you
know.
May be right. I always get those two confused.
I didn't get in on that fad that much, but
yeah, Attic is the guy. I gotta speak.
But that was in PS Plus, Fall Guys, and I'm sure PlayStation benefited quite a bit, because guess what? My girlfriend, we were like, all right, let's try this out together. She was like, I don't want to buy this. I was like, oh, pay for PS Plus like $8 a month. You'll get it. It's part of that package. Just pay for 1 month. And she's like, okay, perfect. So Xbox is probably looking, I think, for something like that, to say like, yeah, it's available on Game Pass. Like, this is our big thing. And people are just in the millions running to play it. And if it's only on Xbox, that's huge for their platform. So
absolutely.
While I know the terms casual, social can be a turnoff for a lot of our audience, we love that diversity. We got to remember it's already there, right? Like it's there. They're going to keep building that, but it's there, right? Like we're seeing RPGs and open world games and action adventure games and first person shooters and so on and so forth. So I'm not too concerned about this, because they have addressed, which by the way was kind of surprising to see, they addressed the diversity first before moving into more casual stuff, which I think shows what kind of leads they have at Xbox who like to play games. Like that's what kind of happens. All right. Pretty quick one there. Number 5. Last week, we headlined our show about Xbox and Sega forming a strategic alliance, and Sega has added another game to the Day 1 Xbox Game Pass list, which already featured Humankind and Football Manager 2022. Now coming Day 1 on PC Game Pass is Total Warhammer 3, which releases February 17th, 2022. Mind you, this is a really early announcement for Day 1 Game Pass. So Tim Jim writes in, hey, Maddie and Cog, just this week, Total Warhammer 3 was announced as a Day 1 Game Pass edition. As an avid lover of RTS games and fantasy in general, I should be excited, but I'm mostly confused. For those who don't know, the series has probably $200 worth of DLC at this point, and all the content from the first 2 games and DLC carry over from game to game. Buying the Vampire Pirates in Warhammer 2 means that you still have them in 3. Because of this, I can't see any established fans of the series playing it on Game Pass when they already have so much of the content they've paid for on Steam. While it's great for attracting new fans and makes sense from a Sega-Microsoft relationship standpoint, this is the first time I've been genuinely confused as to what Microsoft has to gain. Its main fans are too invested in the original version to migrate to Xbox now, and the title is niche enough where I don't think it will be a selling point for newcomers. My long-winded question to you is, do you think Microsoft does/should consider how content is added and monetized before adding a game to the service, or if they should just prioritize quality and quantity before all else? Love the show, and have a getting yelled at by fanboys on Twitter for not supporting the devs kind of day. Damn, bro, this is thematic.
That was good.
All right, so we got this new game, Sega published. Day 1 Game Pass. The relationship continues to grow. We have yet to see them give them a big fish. Let's be honest with Football Manager, kind of a big fish, but we're not seeing like the Sonic or something like that,
Right. Yeah.
Persona.
That's what my boy Saul
Yeah,
needs to see. Saul is that's where he gets on board with me.
I get it. I understand. So we have to see the big fish, but this is a sign that Sega's in, right? They're getting in on this. What do you think about their selection of this game? And of course, the perspective of the DLC, which I had no awareness of. So shout out to Tim Jim for writing in with that. How are you feeling about their selection here of a title? And especially how early it was announced.
Yeah, very early, very early. Again, this is part of that diverse movement that I'm seeing. And again, I think the problem with gamers sometimes is we, the hardcore, look at something for our perspective and say, why would anyone do that when all the DLC, and he's making great points, because I'm new to this. I did not know any of this stuff that Tim Jim said and referenced it because I'm not, I don't play the series like that. But I look at, again, I want to bring it back to Destiny, right? I'm hardcore Destiny. When Beyond Light launched in Game Pass, right? For me, it really didn't matter because I was getting Beyond Light anyway. And, it was a nice addition, but you also didn't have the people who got it in Game Pass just got that, but they didn't get Shadowkeep. They didn't get Forsaken, which were huge past DLC, which is about $100 worth of content, right?
Sure.
So for me, a hardcore, it's really not that great a deal besides Beyond Light, which I was going to buy anyway. But you know how many people came up to me? Cog, Destiny's in? Yo, should I get it? This, that, and the third. And it's a matter of getting your feet in the door, getting you need the new guy, right? That's why it's niche, because just you hardcore are playing it. You know what I'm saying? You got to get the new guy to at least take a nibble. And then if he likes it, you know what, Tim Jim, how much you said that DLC? I'm liking this. That's what, bro, they happen to me all the time. I would hit Ebontis. I'm like, E, you're a Destiny con. One thing about Ebontis, he's a great layman's term for the new person who knows nothing about Destiny. He's an awesome content creator. He does not speak down to you. He gives you so much great advice. I said, E, you better get on this Game Pass craze. I said, people are blowing me up. It's in Game Pass. You know what? I'll try it. Tell me what I need to do, Carl. I'm like, will you please go to Ebontis' YouTube channel? Because I don't got time for this. Like, I can't field all this. And that's what I feel is happening. RTS is something that they've been lacking, right? This is a huge game from my understanding. Bro, get these new guys in. Give them a taste. Give them engagement. That's how you build the franchise. I love it. I think they should continue doing more of it. I don't think it's a quality of a quantity thing. I just think this is a new audience needs to know about this game so that this game actually gets big. That's how
exactly that. Yeah, that's the only addition I could add to your answer is that it's really not looking at it from how does this work for Microsoft. This is how it works for Sega. And Microsoft is trying to butter up Sega, as we said last week. And so this is what works for Sega. This is what they need to put this series out there a little bit more. Is okay, we know we got Tim Jim. We know we got players like him. We know they're going to carry over. But I've never really heard much of Total War or Warhammer 3.
Guess who's going to try it when it comes out?
I don't know if I will be, because it's dropping in February. But
all right, true. But it depends on what day.
Yeah, true. 17th.
But even so, all right, let's say, boom, we don't do it in February. But let's say March, April, Elden Ring slows down. I'm kind of slowed down with Beyond. You know what?
Yeah, let's see what's about.
Let me see what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's there, so easily accessible to download.
Yeah, it's a growth thing for Sega. I'm sure Xbox, gives them a little discount. They're like, look, we're not going to pay you a ton here, but we're going to help you out, right? And so, and that's what it's all about. It's about exposure for Sega to get another one of their platforms or their games out there, which they said in their 5-year strategy they would like to do. So keep an eye on that relationship. It's a growing. Number 6. Konami wrote on their website, quote, "We are currently working on renewing the licenses for the select historical archive footage used in-game. Therefore, we have made the temporary decision to begin suspending the sale of Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and all products that include these games from digital storefronts starting November 8th, 2021. So by the time you're listening to this, it's already gone. We sincerely ask for your patience and understanding as we work towards making those products for purchase once again," end quote. And then separately, this happened yesterday as we record this on Tuesday. We saw that Bandai is taking Jump Force down from digital storefronts as well. So welcome to the digital age, everybody. Aren't you happy that you're buying everything digitally? That's right.
Here it comes.
That's
Here it
right.
comes. Yeah.
Get your fucking physical copies now. Get them now because they're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. How are we feeling about
I
this?
mean, support your argument. Definitely does. This is the I'm team digital, so this is I got to bend the knee here. This is definitely coming from me. I take my L's when I get them. You know what I'm saying? Look, don't you be shaking your head so emphatically. But look, you're right. At the end of the day, this is the risk because at the end of the day, we put so much faith in these online servers and these online storefronts that they will be there in perpetuity. But this could change that quickly.
Yeah, and it's like game you least expect, right? Jump Force, Metal Gear, like what? Bandai's got this stranglehold on anime stuff, and you're telling me they got a delisted game? I don't know, man. Nothing's safe. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I did a mailbag about Marvel Heroes. Talked about that. That one just pulled off, killed my soul, bro. Killed my soul.
No, that's a Diablo game, right? The Diablo game.
Yes. Oh my god, it killed my soul. Shout out to Kaibatsu. We love that game. It took so long to come to console. Yeah. It was on PC for maybe a year, 2 years. Finally comes, some scandal, delisted, off the store.
Yeah.
I'm so heartbroken I never deleted it off my hard drive.
Oh yeah, I did it on my PS4 as well. That's so funny. That's so funny you mentioned that, man. They need to make that game come back because I think it would do well. I think it would do well. You're seeing Activision weak, right? Like their Diablo struggling, like everything they're doing is struggling. There's really no competitor outside of Path of Exile 2, which looks great. It's like, now's your time. Bring back Marvel Heroes Omega. Like now's the time.
Bro, Marvel Heroes Omega was special and it was such fan service. But yeah, these are the sad realities that at any time it can go. And I don't know what to do. I know you could give me the information on what this historical thing, and we were putting a lot of faith that they're going to solve this and bring this back.
Yeah, they said they're going to make it available, which is good. But this is why I shop physically. Of course, Xbox needs to adjust the thing where they like DRM check your disc first time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So yeah, you still if Xbox just shut down their servers, which again, everyone always gets comfortable with digital because they don't think anything is possible. You never know. And I know Xbox is thriving right now, but I'm sorry. Call me paranoid. I'm totally okay with that because I am. But it's just, this is why I go physical, man. It's why I go physical. That disc, you ain't taking that from me. It's there.
Respect.
Unless it's online only, then you take it from me.
Yeah, of course. It was online. Clearly.
So that's what's going on over there with Konami and Bandai. We move over to number 7. After 16 years at the studio, Romuald Capron, the head of Arkane Lyon, stepped down. This happened in early October, and now those large shoes have been filled. Stepping in is Deathloop's director, Dinga Bakaba, who has been a part of Arkane Lyon since 2010. He served as designer and producer on the original Dishonored and as lead designer on Dishonored 2, as well as Death of the Outsider.
Deferring to you here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was smart. At the end of the day, even if I wasn't crazy about Deathloop, it reviewed extremely well. We don't know the sales numbers for it yet, but I'm imagining it did all right. I don't think it did really good because they discounted it quickly. But I think that the surge helped them a little bit. And with him spearheading that, I'm sure they would want him to be at the head of their next thing. Especially because I think Deathloop has immense potential as a sequel. I would love to see a Deathloop sequel, and especially with Game Pass, I think that's where Deathloop can really take off. So they're kind of seeing ahead a little bit. Redfall is going to be this more accessible Game Pass title, open world co-op, Arkane, where that could be a big breakthrough title for them as well. So I think they know they're on the cusp of something. I think it's very smart to stick with Dinga here and let him do his thing. Again, even if I wasn't crazy about Deathloop, I think it's the right call.
Gotcha. No, I was curious because I knew you knew more about the insight on the studio and moving up. So I was just curious to see how you felt about it. But yeah, it seems like the logical progression, and we heard good things about it. So it makes sense to me that he would be chosen for that. So I'm curious to see what happens going forward. I don't have too much to add there, but I'm just curious to see.
No, it's just a little footnote here because I think it's important to note who's stepping in, but I'm also curious to know what direction they go in now, because of course Deathloop, PlayStation exclusive, it'll become an Xbox next year. But beyond that, like, do they make a sequel to the PlayStation exclusive game? Do you do another new IP? What happens there? I'll be very interested to find out.
Yes, very much so.
But by the way, I just got to say this: if there's any indication that we're going to keep going in line with Deathloop, which I thought was kind of watering down Arkane's design, I am a little bit concerned on the
You
front
always
of
throw
the.
the shot, yo.
I just need to. I need to throw it in there. Just everyone has to know the complete thought. But there is a degree of concern on the not quality of the game, because I don't think Deathloop lacked quality, but the next step forward, the evolution of ideas, there is a little bit of worry there. But I think
Okay.
there's a logical progression here, and it's the right call at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
All right, we got Jeff Grubb here next, who has brought to light more details on a new RPG coming from the hands of Josh Sawyer, who is the director of Fallout New Vegas and Pillars of Eternity. And he's working on it with a small team at Obsidian. The bullet points are that it's focusing on experimental mechanics and interactions. It's being developed by a small team. It's in a 16th century European setting. They still plan to have no combat in this game. It's a murder mystery RPG, so you'll be investigating a murder by talking to people and building a case. You can accuse people of murder, and you can possibly continue to play even if you get it wrong and see the consequences. And this plans to release on in 2022. Sorry. Anthony A. writes in, "Hey Dukes, it's been recently revealed by the Master Scoop King, Jeff Grubb, that Obsidian's Josh Sawyer and a small team are working on a 16th century murder mystery game that will feature zero combat. Also, the game could be ready as early as 2022. With the rumors that Obsidian wants to release 7 games in 7 years, what do you think of this approach of developing smaller experimental games such as Grounded with big AAA games such as Avowed? I believe Cog was right when he said Obsidian just might be the best purchase that Microsoft has made over the last few years. I agree with that. Loving the content of the show as it has gotten better and better these past few months. Anthony A. Thank you, Anthony. Cog, I want to defer to you right away. You just finished Disco Elysium, a non-combat RPG for the most part, right? And it sounds like playing as a detective. I don't know the ins and outs of Disco Elysium. Does this sound parallel to you?
Yes. And I heard that there's some inspiration from Sawyer's team. The rumor is there's inspiration from Sawyer's team on Disco. So if you're giving me, I'm still a small team, I'm still working on this, but if you're giving me a better production value, because that's my only thing with Disco, I would say, like I said, it's a little rough around the edges. Graphically, it's got that oil paint kind of style, controls a little left to be desired. Feels like it's more of a mouse and click kind of game as opposed to a true dedicated controller type of game. This is speaking to my soul. I love this. I know some people are like, it has no combat. Bro, I'm telling you right now, when it comes to writing, storytelling, character development, voice acting, I am thoroughly engrossed. And if it's anything like Disco, and I loved it, what I realized, I love detectives. I love putting pieces and clues together and trying to figure out things, and everybody's got their own motive. Disco has a lot of that in it. And 16th century Europe, like I'm in, let's go. I'm all, and it just shows me this is the greatness of the city. So it's great. You got the mega tier Avowed type games and Outer Worlds, and you know what I'm saying? And then you still gotta ground it. That's out here doing well. And now you got, like, there's such a diverse, cool team with so much going on. Like, it's not even close to me. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I shouldn't say it's not close, but Ninja Theory, we're gonna see what they do. Playground is out here. Playground made me bend the knee and made me respect their name. I'm sorry, Playground, for not mentioning you enough. Coalition's been holding it down. But I'm telling y'all right now, like, Obsidian is just, they're on another level with what they're doing. And Josh, this sounds awesome. I'm all the way in on this.
What I love about this too is, for example, we saw Grounded get announced. It was being directed by Adam Brennecke, which, I mean, this is no disrespect, but I was not aware of who Adam was until Grounded. Damn. So you're lifting up newer creators. Oh, you laughed. You laughed.
Bro, I was clowning them. I went against my own studio. I was like, who wants this?
The GM expressing disappointment in his draft pick.
Yeah, I was like, nah, man, we might have to send them back to the minors on that one. Bro, I was disgusted, and I was forced to bend the knee. I'm like, yo, this is kind of fun, and I don't even like this.
Yeah, same.
And I'm like, yo, the engine is so. Sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but I had to get that off. I was so wrong on Grounded.
What's happening, though, is you see him bringing up new names, but then you got one of their most prominent names, right? This is the guy who led New Vegas to the promised land. This is the guy who brought us Pillars of Eternity, which I haven't played. This dude, all I'm saying is this is one of their most talented individuals, and he's working with a small team to make a new RPG. That's so exciting because what that says to me is Obsidian's making a better culture, which there was rumors and reports that wasn't that good, by the way, in the earlier 2010s before the Xbox acquisition. To me, this is saying that Obsidian's not going, yo, Josh, you're a big name. You got the brightest mind here. Go make us our multi-million-dollar game. It's like, you want to make this tighter thing? And it could grow into this big thing? Let's do it. Yeah, let's see what happens here. I love that mentality there because Obsidian's so talented and they're so creative. And now they're really sharpening up the polish, right? We've seen 2 releases from them. One in early access with the Grounded, which came out in a pretty sharp state for early access. 13 people, by the way. And then we saw The Outer Worlds come out, which was in a very polished state as well. And that's a good sign moving forward that now as they experiment, we can expect just a level of quality from them and now diversity. This is one you want to keep your eyes on. I actually, for those who watch my channel may know this, I invited Jeff Grubb on to talk about this. I'm trying to do this new video series where I'm connecting YouTubers and press because there's always a separation. And I've watched a ton of videos where I try to add more commentary to it, not to get on a whole spiel here. I try to add a little more commentary though, where it's my thoughts about the reports rather than just, I've seen YouTube videos that I'm sorry, but they just read the whole article and they're like, okay, thanks for watching. I'm like, you kind of just spit out their work again. And it's like, I try to steer away from that as much as possible. But of course you need to reference what you're talking about. So I was thinking, how do you do that? I was like, I'm friends with a lot of these people. I was like, can I invite them to my channel to expand upon the leak that they had or the info that they had, the scoop that they had, and not try to wring them dry, but just get more thoughts behind it, more extended information. And so Jeff was more than kind to join me. And one of the things we learned was that it looks like this is going to be like a second half 2022 game with Grounded in the first half. So keep an eye out on those quiet periods in the year because these are not going to be huge games. I think Grounded will be bigger than people give it credit for, but it's not going to be gigantic. We're keeping an eye out on the quiet times of the year where both these games can slip into. Like I could totally see this being like a summer game, like a late summer game, and then Grounded maybe slipping into April somewhere. Like I could totally see that being a thing, or maybe May. So just keep an eye on that. But also Jeff pointed out that this could be a December game. Like they're working with experimental mechanics. So they want to make sure those are all there and there's no pressure, no rush. So this could just slip, but this also could come out this year. That's the plan. It's to come out this year, second half. So just want to add to that report there based off some information that Jeff shared with me in my video, and looking forward to doing more of those in the future with other reporters.
Nice.
All right, let's move on to number 9 here. id Software may be working on a Quake game. A new set of job listings mentioned, quote, the development of a long-running iconic action FPS, end quote, which would maybe make you think of Doom and say, well, what's the big deal? But the second mentioning is sci-fi and fantasy environments, latter of which would suggest that it may have something to do with Quake. This times out quite well as we just saw the 25th anniversary release for the original Quake back in August, and it received a next-gen upgrade on October 12th. Kickstand writes in, gentlemen, IGN shared last week that id could potentially be working on a new Quake reboot. Coming off the critical and commercial success of Doom Eternal, id, in my opinion, has the best momentum of any dev in the FPS space. Obviously, 343 is a titan because of the Halo brand. If this was the case, and properly executed, a new Quake with an excellent single player and signature multiplayer would be a tremendous boon for Microsoft. Microsoft would have an exclusive first-party competitive multiplayer FPS on PC and console. Think that's a huge win in their sales compared to their competition. Infinite will likely be very good, but I think Quake caters to a different audience in that space. Your thoughts? Now, I actually have not really played a lot of Quake, so I don't know if I can add to it, but have you?
No, I'm not a Quake guy either, but this interests me. And Kickstand made great points because I think that Microsoft has this strength here. And I want to shout Colin out because he did a mailbag recently and I caught a little bit of it. And he kind of, called out PlayStation as far as like, yo, the last FPS kind of game was like Killzone
or Killzone,
yeah, like Shadowfall or something. And I don't even know if that.
I forgot.
Yeah, I don't even know if that. I don't remember if did it. It was like a launch game.
That was a PS4 launch game. Yeah.
Right. Did it have? I don't even remember if it had a multiplayer component.
It did. I played it.
It did. Okay. So the point being is that it's been so long, right, in a genre that has been sorely lacked. Whereas this is something Microsoft kind of has in spades, and then I even think about Machine Games now. Saying the Wolfenstein franchise, which I love. So I'm of the mindset. I've never really played Quake like that. I for whatever reason missed it. The zeitgeist of it, and I just wasn't around for it. I know they just did what is it, the reboot or whatever, which is a big thing. Digital Foundry got behind it. Shout out to John Lennon and those guys.
Yeah.
I'm willing to see what a new Quake like. I want to touch the new, whatever's the new imagining. I want to see what this is about. And yeah, I think Kickstand's right. I think they have them having this exclusive under, most likely we would assume it's exclusive underneath their banner is a huge bold. Like your competition is not doing that. No one is really killing FPS the way Microsoft is.
Absolutely.
And it's great. It's a great addition.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think just that matchup too is great. Id managed to resurrect, pardon the pun, Doom and really bring it to a whole new level and make someone like me who I love the original Doom. I've played that a lot. And Doom 3 had like its own vibe. These are great games, but to resurrect it and modernize it and make it feel right, man. It just, they did an incredible job. So I think it makes sense for them to take their talents to a new IP. I think Eternal was left in a spot where they really supported that game, man. We just talked about a free update that came to it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, the new Horde mode. They added 2 story expansions to it. They kept that battle mode alive. They did a great job with Doom 2016 as well with its multiplayer and expansion. So they've done a phenomenal job with that game and its post-launch support and that whole series. So I think, now's the time. Transition, do something new, keep things fresh, keep that momentum going, because that is what makes, I think, id more interesting. Is they're known as the Doom studio, but now make yourself like the legendary FPS studio, because you do Quake right. It's like, what do we do next? Do we do another Quake? Like, what do we tackle next? And that having that tool under your belt is so valuable. So if this time's out well for Xbox, I mean, they got a winner on their hands for sure. It do not miss.
Yeah, and the last point I'll say is I want to shout my boy Ty Guy Travis. We do last word, and he's big on, he feels there's a what's the word, like a lacking in the competitive multiplayer scene.
Yeah, it's just like CSGO,
truly,
really.
Yeah, right. That true competitive, and this could be that niche, right? That they could hit, and again, Microsoft could have it exclusive under their belt. That it's a huge. There is a yearning for that, because right now the Destiny community is a little bit upset on the PvP side with Bungie not truly valuing balance, especially when they were the ones that made the Halo ranking system, and it doesn't seem to translate over into Destiny PvP. So they want that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think this is a great addition to have that kind of a game.
Yeah, I just want to throw out there a game that a lot of us forget about, and I just remembered it, and that's Quake Champions.
Oh,
Quake Champions. This came from id and Saber Interactive. It was released in 2017, and
good point.
This is kind of like Bethesda's take on a hero shooter Quake hybrid. So I just want to remind people, Quake did come around in a multiplayer territory, and it didn't do that crazy well.
It did that.
And I thought it was fun. I put an okay amount of time into it. I thought it was fun, but it did not catch on. So I think id, of course, being like we're making a single player and that, like bringing that package like they did with Doom, I think will change things, change the look at it. But just know we did recently get a Quake game that a lot of people forget about.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course. Number 10, last bit of news. The Game Awards coming very soon. We got some new details on it. There's a lot of 2022 and 2023 content that'll be showcased. I think 2023 is the more interesting part of all of this, because we're reaching deep now. We're talking end of 2021, showing 2023 stuff. That means that, as they reported, they expect some really cool next-gen stuff. They said there's a number of new game reveals in the double digits. So this is not just updates. They say 40 to 50 games in the show in some capacity. And of course, they're going to have their live orchestra, because of course they will.
Of course.
But all right, here we go. Like, is this why Xbox is smushing the hype for the anniversary event? They're like, we got the Game Awards there. And Jeff, you're our buddy. You're our buddy.
Yeah, we heard. We've been hearing things, you know what I'm saying? Grove and Jazz, and you know what I'm saying? We've been hearing things. Yeah, I think this is what it is. If that happened, man, I'll go crazy. Crazy. I'm gonna go crazy. I think what Microsoft is doing this generation, whether people like it or not, is they're utilizing the biggest platforms. They're utilizing Jeff. They utilize them. What is it? The Halo, right? With his big thing for the summer. What is it? Game Awards we just did.
Yeah.
And I mean, not was it Game Fest? What is this summer
Games Fest? Yeah.
Games Fest. Sorry. And now the Game Awards. They're no stranger.
Gamescom opening night live is what I.
Gamescom opening. Yes, thank you.
Right,
that
there's
was
been
what
so
it
many
was.
fucking names.
So many names, so many shows. I forget. But yeah, this is the big one. I think the the sentence that got me was, he said, "There's great tension this year. I say the awards are about half the show, and the other half is announcements and premieres." That's a big
Sounds
deal.
like he gets it finally. I don't know what to say. Like, the awards are fun and they're important, and I do not undermine them. But the main reason millions show up is because they know what's coming. They know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is Microsoft's going to definitely have to show out on some level. We will get one of those major games that we talked about, whether it be the Hellblade, the Avoweds, whoever, whatever. They're going to be showcasing there, and they've had tremendous success. When that intern stepped up and told Phil, "What if we show Hellblade?" You know, shout out to the intern or whoever
absolutely.
it was.
Intern doing hard work.
She was hard work. And Phil was like, "You know what? That's a good idea. We've never done that before." That's the new Microsoft. They're so, don't say desperate, but they're so, wanting to win the generation that they are forsaking their own shows.
Yeah.
To go where all the eyes are, whether people like it or not. Yeah, much to your dismay, much to Alex's dismay. He hates it. He'd be like, "Yo, build up your own show before you do that." But it's proven successful. I remember when they got a Series X reveal and a Hellblade reveal. It blew the internet. I remember that. People went crazy for that. And then they rolled a positive thing all the way up until the launch. So, what do you think? What are you expecting? How you feeling? Game on?
Man. I'm excited for this one. I think the last couple of Game Awards have been good. The reveals have been exciting, and again, not to touch on the same things, but 2021 hasn't been the best year for gaming. It's been an all right year, and it's been a good backlog year for sure. Look at the two fucking games I played. I played Sonic Adventure and KOTOR. Like, come on, you telling me it's a good year? Come on, damn,
Daddy, damn.
But in all seriousness, looking forward, there's a lot to be excited about. We already know and expect 2022 to be a very loud year. We don't know if it'll be a banging year, right? We don't know if all these games will hit, but it is going to be a loud year. Lots of big games are coming. We're talking about games that were delayed because of the pandemic finally being ready. We're talking about games that were smoothly developed, or as smooth as they could be, making their appearance finally. Like, look at what we already know about 2022, and then think of what we don't know and how that calendar is going to fill out very fast. And there's always going to be those sneaky titles, right? Like, you look at the big dogs, you're like, "I'm going to play my Starfield. Yeah, I'm definitely getting in on Horizon." But you're not thinking about that indie game that goes, "We're coming out in a month." And we look really good. Like, those sneaky announcements are what get you. They get your backlog. They make you fall behind. That's what you got to remember. Like, these games are on the way, big and small. So I'm very excited for this show. Especially, it makes sense why they have so many games to announce, because there is so much we have yet to see. And I'm very, very excited. Of course, as I said, I'm expecting some Avowed. I'm expecting some Hellblade. Okay. What else are we thinking for the Xbox library? What else are we thinking beyond Xbox? Of course, PlayStation has to have a presence here. You'd have to think.
PlayStation's got to. Yeah. They've got to have a presence here. They got to get people hyped for the future. Yeah. And I don't think that year. I mean, they've made announcements, but I'm trying to remember what significant PlayStation announcements were at the Game.
I will Google.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I got to find. For some reason, maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like maybe they haven't taken advantage of it the way Xbox has in the recent years. But correct me if I'm wrong there. But I expect that to change. If that is the case,
they took down a million and one a Last of Us 2 rewards. I forgot about that. That was interesting. I love that discourse.
Yeah, I mean, they got factions. What's going on with them, right? With that, and they got a lot of stuff that they could talk about if they want. To me, this is, what could Microsoft, I mean, we got to just say Hellblade is it. Like, Hellblade, it's got to be. We haven't seen it in a while. I just want to know how much more they're willing to talk about. How much more games that we don't know about are they willing to show? I really don't know. That's why I'm excited, because I like that I don't know what's going to happen, like what's going to be shown from Microsoft. But
yeah, I'm seeing PlayStation revealed the 2020 Season and Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. Those were their reveals in 2020. So nothing of significance versus Perfect Dark. And I'm seeing here, I might have missed this. Originally, Ark 2 was announced.
Yes.
And that's a timed exclusive for Xbox. So
okay.
No news beats or reveals, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. No news. Yeah. Correct. No news beats. That's right.
None of that.
None of that. Don't you get excited. Don't you dare. Yeah, like Microsoft's going to utilize this thing for sure. I'm not even. I'm not worried about it. It's just about of what.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. That I'm literally excited. I'm part excited for the little bit of what. And I'm a little cheesy. I'm like the only guy that does like the little orchestra, the game of the year
I
game.
just mute
I
that
do.
shit because it just
Damn it,
it
man!
kills the stream.
It kills the
Yeah.
stream. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
thing. That's right.
Just
That's
like
right. You're
let's get I don't know, Nickelback to play a song, and I'm like, dude, mute.
right.
You're not
Mute,
taking my money away like that. That's
Yeah,
not what's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
happen
yeah,
here.
yeah. The demonetization is in. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Right. But no, that's it. I mean, it's just the event of it, regardless to how people feel about Jeff or whatever. It's our Oscars. At the end of the day, we have something to celebrate games. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I look forward to it. And then me and the ILP, we have a little game where we play where we kind of think how they release all the categories and who to nominate, who we think's gonna win, and then we vote up and see who's the one that's right. Solve always wins.
Yeah.
But whatever. But I'm hyped, man.
I am
I'm
too. I'm really looking forward to it, and it'll be a very good time for our show between that and Halo Infinite and even the Steam Deck. Plenty to talk about during the last month of the year. That's just how full the calendar is, though. So that's all our news for this episode. Let's get into the Game Pass / Back Compat pick of the week. I handled it this week. I was sifting through the library, seeing what they had, because it's actually, with so many reviews going on, I haven't dug into the Game Pass library. I've just, like, these new ones that have been coming in that I've put a lot of time into have been catching me at the right time where I could talk about them. But went in there, I was sifting through, and then I found an oldie. One that has a sequel that is released in early access recently. It's Darkest Dungeon.
Tell me about this.
Darkest Dungeon is probably one of the most grueling, tough turn-based games I think I have played. This is a game, at least in my experience, you are never winning. You are never winning. It's always something, but it's intentional. So you got to manage the stress of your party members in there. And when you bring them back to the home base, you got to send them to different areas to like decompress. Well, you need them for missions to go out and keep progressing. So you have to like keep recruiting, keep rebuilding. And it's always just inching forward. Like you're never going to have like this dominant run into a dungeon. And you'll always second guess yourself. Like, do I want to go one room further? Do I want to get out of here? There's this risk reward throughout the whole game. And it's just a sense of danger that we don't see in a lot of titles. And I don't know if you could tell between Elden Ring and this, I like a little danger in my games because it feels like there's something at risk, right? Like I love my games where sometimes I can just cruise and do whatever and kick some ass and not really worry about, I think of like Spider-Man PS4. It's like, yeah, like this is not that hard, but it's really fun to play. This is a game that challenges you every step of the way. And what happens is as you develop those stresses, they turn into like paranoias and stuff, and they become permanent debuffs or buffs for these characters. So if like they get really stressed out about something, like they don't like this aquatic creature or whatever, it's like when they see one, like they might freak out and they stop listening to you in combat. And like now you're like, oh shit, like, and then someone else gets hit. Now they're damaged. They have a broken knee. So you got to put them in like the infirmary for a couple of days.
Wow.
It's just a really tough game. But with Darkest Dungeon 2 coming out and it being in early access, I thought maybe some people are having a hankering for this. I want to remind them, like, this is on Game Pass. And if you haven't played and you're looking for something challenging, that's brooding, it's very dark, pardon the pun. I know the name is in there, but I mean it like on a thematic level. Like the game opens with someone kind of shooting themselves in the head. You don't see it, you hear it. But there's got a strong tone here. And again, very difficult, but very rewarding once you get through that dungeon. It does feel like, oh my God, I did it, man. I did it. Feels like an accomplishment. This is also available on Vita, where I think it's best played. But I know we don't got to shell out for that Vita. So Game Pass, go ahead and download it. Have you ever played Darkest Dungeon?
I like it. No, I'm looking at it right now. Never played it. I like the art style.
Art style is sick.
I like it. Yeah, the art style looks really cool. I'm feeling it. They talking some XCOM vibe, a little bit of Football Manager vibe too, as far as management. And yeah, it looks cool. And now 1 is in Game Pass right now.
Yes.
You said part 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 is in Game Pass. 2 is in early access now. I haven't looked into it much because kind of like with Baldur's Gate 3, I know these are games I really like, so I don't have an interest in playing them in an early state, getting my feet wet and then waiting.
Yeah.
So like Baldur's Gate 3, I did a preview of, and I was like, okay, that's enough. And I was like, I'm waiting because I love Larian. I love their work, and what they're doing with Darkest Dungeon looks great. So I thought, hey, try out the first one if you have yet to. It may get you interested in the sequel.
Nice.
All right. Let's move on to our 5 final questions for this show. A-Train's up first. Hey, Dukes, new patron here. I have a question for Cog, but would like Maddie's opinion as well. I have to just start right now and let you all know I don't really have much of an opinion on this, so this is all you, Cog. Is the OLED TV the game changer for gaming that everyone acts like it is? I know Cog and King are big on OLEDs on ILP. I'm playing most games in 4K 60, but am I really missing out not having HDR and Dolby Vision? Friends of mine with OLEDs and listening to ILP have convinced me I am just a bit. Any issues with burn-in, Cog? Burn-in is the only thing that's stopping me from getting the C1. Give me the sales pitch. Love the show. Have a mediocre rest of your day. So he signed up to get into contact. He's like, Cog, do I go for it? Do I get the OLED? Sell me on it. As a man who just bought a TV for next generation, they didn't even put in the variable refresh rate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sony. I'm
going
to get that Microsoft TV next. Or my fanship card.
Yeah, I heard about that 900H. My condolences there. Yeah, shout out to Vincent Toe, who does HDTV tests. He broke that TV down. I was like, wow, that's kind of apparently it's not a good implementation of it. Yeah. So look, I am Team OLED, the God LEDs stand up. It's a phenomenal picture. It's not even close. Now I will say the HDR and Dolby Vision are game changers. They are definitely game changers. The variable refresh rate, the VRR is huge. You know, the reason why you want to mess with the C1 is because, and the or the GX if you get it, because the CX if you get it on sale, because you don't have to get. They just made an update for the CX to allow 4K 120 with variable refresh rate and Dolby Vision on it. Now, the thing with HDR, if people have not experienced it, the only thing I can say is like, it's a vibrance. It's a, like when you play like something like Sea of Thieves and you see the sun rays and the sunlight and the sunset in the background, it's just this amazing vibrance of light and reflections, and it's amazing. Like it truly makes games pop and come to life. The VRR is huge because there's some games that people play and be like, yo, this game frame rate is a little choppy. And VRR auto corrects it if the game supports it. So you got that. Then you got, when I knew HDR was the truth? When Outer Worlds supported auto HDR. That game doesn't even have HDR, but the Series X has auto HDR for some time. And I'm seeing the colors Murder and Eridanos and the vibrance. And I seen it immediately. I was like, yo, this is really transforming this experience. So you got to do it. As a gamer, you want things to pop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You want to feel like it did that. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Now to his question about the burn-in, look, burn-in is a legit concern. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. A lot of people say, oh no, it's overrated. It is a legit concern. There's some tests. I shout out to Linus Tech Tips and these guys. They done, expensive tests. What I'd say is this. I always do COG when it comes to products that I'm unsure of or may long my behind get over to Best Buy and get that warranty. Best Buy got the greatest warranty ever. You could literally take in I've done it with a busted controller. Yo, it don't work. All right, no problem. You got the Geek Squad. You got the work. Yeah, go in the back. Go get your new one. See you later. I'm like, you're not even going to test them. I could be lying. Yeah. Like, nope. You're part of the greatest warranty in the world. You just go in the back.
Dude, Best Buy is killing it. I'm sorry, but like, I didn't even know about that. But I'm just saying in general. Like, I talk a lot about this. How when I went to GameStop to get near Replicant, and they're like, we don't even carry that. Like, we didn't have enough pre-orders. And I go to Best Buy and they have a rack of them. Like, this is my game store now, man. Like, this is where I go for all my day ones. Like, it's just right there.
All your day ones, any hardware especially hardware that you're uncertain of, and you're like, because I remember when the Elite controllers were people like, yo, the rubber is coming off, and going to Best Buy to get it. You know what I'm saying? And I've literally returned like 2.
Wow.
So shout out to them. I got my OLED right over there, right in that Magnolia section, and get that little 3-year plan, and you give yourself peace of mind. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there's nothing messing with that TV. This TV, my boy, shout out to Brat Podcast, Enrique, he just got it. He tried to cheap out and get like a little cheaper TV like a year ago. And he's like, yo, God, I got to get the gold. And he's playing it with his PC as well. That's the other thing. It has so much functionality. The last thing I'll say, if you're a sound freak too, it has the latest tech it's called eARC. So if you have like a sound bar and you got to do your Dolby Atmos and all that stuff, you put it in the HDMI 2, bro, it is... the neighbors, I can't. Like I will like I have it low, and it's like an orchestra going on. The CX and the C1 are game changers. And the last play, if you don't believe me, I got Inside Baseball on that TV. That Xbox Series X recommends that as the de facto TV for them next generation. And they've been working with LG specifically to make sure things line up. So that firmware update. Go get it, man. Right on. Best purchase you ever made.
Absolutely. Love that. That makes me want to replace my TV a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Do what you gotta do. Them Black Friday sales.
I'll keep an eye out.
Get that CX. Bro.
All right. We got the Rogue writing in next. Dear Delicious Dukes, I usually don't play sports games, but I recently downloaded Madden from Game Pass and got sucked into its franchise mode where I simulated most games. I think its sim/management aspects pulled on the same strings that strategy games do, with subject matter that I enjoy: draft, trade, strategize, and find undervalued players to build an engine to dominate the opponent. I know you are both sports fans. Have you ever jumped into a sports management game? Are you interested in giving it a try? Take it easy.
Maddie, I'm curious your answer.
No, I think I just...
No sports?
5-6 years ago, I was done. I think I picked up NHL, sorry. And it was just like, I have this off switch at times with certain things where I'm like, I think I'm done. That was that moment. And I picked it up. I was like, this is the same. I didn't play it much, and that was all there was to it. I just, the only game, by the way, Game Pass, MLB The Show. That was the one.
Yeah, so I was gonna say
MLB The Show, man. I love the show, but it's not even a game that keeps me locked in for a long while. Like I pick it up, I play it when I'm just hankering for some baseball. So I might play it a little bit this winter. I always keep it installed on the Series X since it came out on Game Pass, and I fire it up every now and then. But the management stuff's fun, but I don't know. I watch so much sports personally that I don't have a desire anymore to play them. I just want to watch the thing, and track the teams and all that stuff that way. So I've sort of fallen out of that, and I'd rather put my time into other games. Not that it's a waste for those who do, but what about you? I know you played the show a lot.
Yeah, the show. What is it? Remember I told you was it Road March to October, or whatever it is. Yeah, that I got thoroughly involved. Like I was so into that thing because it didn't make me play 162 games of baseball, and I was able to still manage and do my thing and stuff like that. So that was one. The actual sports management aspect, the last time I did that was probably like the Madden series of the franchise. But see, I like to do them with I don't know if they still have it. There was that 1 year in Madden where multiple people, we could start a franchise together.
Oh, right? Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that you got your team, I got my team. Then we look at the schedule. Yo, you got to play him on this day and that kind of thing. But as far as like the hardcore ones that I think the Rogue is talking about, which is like almost like a football manager kind of thing. And, I generally, some people want that. They want to control the hot dog stand. They want to control how much the salary. For sure. Yeah, I could see how people get it. I've never really drawn to that level of micromanagement. Oh, okay, Maddie's thinking.
When you said hot dog stand, you like unlocked a memory. Did Madden do that back then? I fucking loved that as a kid. Holy crap. Yeah, the concession stand prices in franchise modes.
Yeah, all that is franchise mode. Like, some of them do it really cool. Yeah, see it coming back.
Oh, I loved that growing up, man. Hold up.
Yeah.
They still doing that?
I don't know. I haven't touched a franchise in so long in Madden.
I'm so bad at Madden, man. So bad at Madden.
I wouldn't know. The only other game, which is not sports, that I gotta give it a shout out, it has nothing to do with sports, but it's kind of the police version of this. Bro, you gotta play this game. It's called This Is the Police.
Oh, is that the one where you like walk up and down the street giving out tickets and stuff? Is that what?
No. This is literally it's literally a police management game. It's voiced by the Duke Nukem actor. It's amazing voice. It is like the most corrupt cop ever. And like he got to pay off the mob. Otherwise he gonna get murdered. But what's the day-to-day element of it is you have to manage your police force, right? And you got like 8 or 9 cops. You can hire cops, fire cops. Cops be hitting you, man. They be like making up excuses. Yo, I'm not coming in.
I played this at PAX.
Bro, This Is the Police is my joint, yo. I love that game. Like that is literally cop management game, and it's funny. It did like you like a crime happens. You got to pick which, like multiple crimes can happen in the city. You ain't got enough resources, so you like, all right, I can send 2 guys here, but this guy's not good at negotiation, and this guy's got like it is amazing. And the narrative is dope. I know I'm going left because this is not a sports topic, but I mean, this really is not a sports game. But bro, that is I'm addicted to that game. I beat it on Switch. I'm about to play it again on Xbox. It's on Xbox. I want to get the achievements. That's how much I love it.
Yeah. I actually played both these games at PAX Beat Cop and This Is the Police. It's so funny. It's so funny. It must have been a cop grind of some kind.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And the writing, it's so controversial. It's great. Like all type of, they be having racial unrest. They be having, it's really great. Bro, there's no taboo subjects. All like they are fearless in this game.
Gloves off.
Gotta love it. The writing.
All right, let's move on to number 3 from Seth Bain. Hey guys, I recently completed all 3 games in Mass Effect Legendary Edition. While in my original playthroughs back in the day, I played the games as shooters, not engaging with any of the biotic/tech powers. I decided to change things up this time and play as a Vanguard, utilizing many abilities and even my squad mates a lot more. My question is, have you ever changed up your play style when returning to an older game from your past, whether to a positive or negative experience? Thanks, and have oh man, I forgot to move my laundry into the dryer yesterday, so now my clothes are all soggy behind the day. Ooh. Imagine Seth walk around in a wet t-shirt to work or something.
Oh man, that's the worst, bro. I'll keep this quick. I mean, he used Mass Effect. I've done that before. I always used to use Engineer with the drones because I used to like to let the drones go out and do the work kind of thing. But when I replayed it, and also because of achievements, right? Sometimes achievements be like, yo, use biotic powers, do this. So that I did a biotic and I had a lot of fun. So I've done that with multiple games. If I love a game and I'll do my replay, I'll definitely try a new style. It adds a new flavor to it. I'm assuming you with the the Skyrims and the you know what I'm saying? Like
it's really easy to like fall into your comfort zone. Like I kind of do that with KOTOR. Like with KOTOR, I kind of like to go to my comfort zone because there's the soldier, the scout, the scoundrel, and the scoundrel's like I remember people trying to correct me in the comments. Scoundrel sucks. So you really have the scout who's very skill based, and then you have the soldier who just fuck the dice rolls. You just beat the hell out of everything. And I'm sorry, but the combat is the weakest part of KOTOR. So when I can click something and it can happen, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm all about the soldier in that game. So I'll go to my comfort area there. But like more times than not, I'm going into a game I'm replaying doing something different because time is a luxury, right? And when I go into a new an old RPG, I don't want to repeat history, right? It's the best test you can give an RPG. Seeing how flexible it is, trying a new way to play, new dialogue options, new outcomes, all that stuff, man. Like that's the flavor of these games where some people buy them and they're like, I'm going to do like 3 replays right off the bat. It's like, no, it's like when you come back years later, like what's that game offer you again a second time through? And not that the safe route is the wrong route, but I love going into Dragon Age, Mass Effect, these types of games, and Divinity Original Sin 2, doing it in one of the best ways. Wasteland 3, giving you so many options. Like, why wouldn't you exercise those options given to you is how I look at it.
Yeah. And it makes a game feel new again. Like you're like, oh, I never seen this. So it's like a new playthrough, completely new experience.
That's the strength of RPGs, right? It's that ability to go through and have that. I didn't see that before a moment. I even have that with KOTOR, and that's a game I've played a ton of times. I had it the other day where there's this. Do you remember the Undercity, like in Terrace, like the bottom level of the city?
Vaguely, yeah, vaguely.
So there are these villagers who are looking for a promised land, and it's this kind of fable thing. I didn't remember that when you get all the promised land journals, which I did, and you bring them back to the village, if you give it to Rukil, the whole village empties out. They go out on a journey. And I didn't know that. Like I must have either just skipped that when I got that quest. I would get the journals because I knew where all of them were by heart, but I would never go and return them. I would just forget because like the story just picks you up and takes you back to the apartments when you say Bastila and all this stuff. So you just kind of forget because you got to run all the way back down to the Undercity. So last night I'm like, let me go do that. And I turn it in and they leave, and you could have turned it into the shopkeeper and it would have kept them there. And there's like a quiet sadness to this moment because if you played KOTOR and you beat that first Planet Terrace, you know what happens regardless. And it's like, man, they finally found their way. And I won't spoil it, but like, damn. Yeah, so
that's the beauty of RPGs.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that. The beauty of RPGs is kind of held right there.
Oh yeah.
All right. Next up is Dan XL. Hey boys, I hope you guys are having a great week. Is there a future where you see games launch exclusively to Game Pass or have some sort of timed exclusivity to Game Pass? Imagine a situation in which this game isn't even available in Microsoft's own storefront, either indefinitely or for a period of time. Is this scenario gamers would have no choice but to subscribe to Game Pass in order to play a particular game? Additionally, do you think this would be considered a pro-consumer move or anti-consumer move? I personally wouldn't be a fan of this, as I still enjoy buying my games despite them being on Game Pass. It's unlike anything like this would ever happen, but I still wanted your thoughts on this. Have a great day, gentlemen. All right, you were chuckling the whole way through. What's on your mind?
Shout out to that. Microsoft would get destroyed. Could you imagine a Game Pass exclusive game that you can't play unless you have Game Pass? Bro, like I'm just thinking of the optics, and I'm just thinking about the media headlines. People would coming up like Game Pass is the death of the industry. Like they would get killed. I think, bro. Like Game Pass exclusive, you can't get it nowhere except Game Pass. No digital by itself.
Yeah. It also just, we've heard this a lot from our audience, and I maybe I'm missing something, but it doesn't make sense. Why would they not sell it just as an option? Right. Like I just, there's no reason. I get the idea is like they want to drive people to Game Pass, but you're still driven to Game Pass by it existing on the storefront, because when it's there, right, and the price tag is there, and you see Game Pass and everything else that's in Game Pass, like that's the driving force there, is their own storefront. So if you remove that, you might just remove the marketing, because we even get some write-ins about like, hey, Dukes, like how does Xbox market Game Pass when, I know these people who would definitely benefit from Game Pass and they've never even heard of it. When I told them about it, it was like a too good to be true type of thing. And to me, it's one of those situations where for them to market it, like the game has to exist in marketplaces. It can be seen.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't see any scenario where that is received well and something that they would do. And like I said with Phil, when he had his recent comments, I think it was Wall Street Journal, he said they are not dependent on a Game Pass only model for their type of revenues. Yes. They're using a mixed model. So this doesn't fly. And I think it's a funny shout out to that. I think that was hilarious. I love the scenario he painted, but they would get raked over the coals.
Absolutely. And I think it just goes against the Xbox DNA. Like they're about options, right? They're about play anywhere within that ecosystem. Yep. So if you wall off the rest of your own ecosystem, it wouldn't work, and it doesn't make sense.
Put it this way. They're getting killed whenever an RTS like an Age of Empires or a Gears Tactics comes out late to console. They get raked over that. Now, I give them a little bit of pass because of the config, but on letter of the law, people should get those at the same time, right? So if something's late, people are flipping.
Yeah,
they're like, you don't care. Yeah, you don't care about the console. They on PC's always getting you Game Pass exclusive.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. Would not be good at all.
Yeah. No.
Great question, Dan. Appreciate you writing in.
Yeah, Salute. Great question. Funny, too.
Let's talk to Unkempt Hawk to close out the show. Hey, Dukes, Minecraft is probably Microsoft's biggest property at this point, and yet I just loaded up the game on my Series X and noticed there are still no next-gen upgrades or Series console enhancements. What are they doing over there? The upcoming updates to the game look to change it up quite a bit, but the game also isn't taking advantage of the Series X and S. Almost a year into the life cycle of these consoles, I find it incredibly strange that Minecraft, of all games, has no enhancements for current gen. Why not give us a 120 FPS mode or even ray tracing? What are your thoughts on this? Is there something I'm just missing here? Hope you tried to swim in lava kind of day. Thank you, Unkempt Hawk.
I'm with him. I despise that stuff. Like, this is a big pet peeve of mine. Especially, I am surprised by Minecraft because I didn't realize this. I'm not a Minecraft guy, but I didn't realize that they didn't have any next gen kind of support yet. So that stuff bothers me. As a person, just a quick example, as a person who loves Tekken, right? Tekken 7 was, a really great fighting game of mine. Still, there's no enhancements. It's in 720p right now. If you boot it up, it looks terrible at 720p. I just can't play it at that. So it's like on this new hardware, like, bro, like what's going on now? But Tekken standpoint, I did hear from Harada there was some technical thing that maybe with the older Unreal Engine. And generally, sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes there's some technical issue that we may not be aware of. But I am surprised with Minecraft, which they paid for, which is a flagship like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Didn't at one point they was gonna do like a 4K update or ray tracing update or something? I remember them announcing something, and then that kind of never happened. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Well, who's that? What's that? Who makes? I'm not forgetting that. World's Edge. What's the name of
Who
them?
made what? Sorry.
What's the, who made Minecraft? I always forget.
Mojang.
Mo
Yeah.
Yang. Sorry. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, is that what they do? Like, is that all they do? Like, I don't know. I don't know why there's no. It's very strange to me. But what do you think, man?
Yeah, I was thinking about this a little bit, and I was double checking just to make sure that there were no updates we missed, but I'm not really seeing anything for this new Bedrock edition that's come around. And you can take a look for yourself. But like right now, the only feature I think it takes advantage of is quick resume. Um, but feel free to double check for me. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
one of the
checking it as
driving
well.
reasons for this is really that Minecraft's primary platform is PC. And it's because of
Mhm.
the custom servers, the mods that you can put in there.
Yeah.
Like that's huge. Like the reason Minecraft, I think, is still relevant outside
Hmm.
of it being a very accessible kids game is that.
Yeah.
And so, not that that means they should just shelve next gen updates and
Hmm.
plans to overhaul, but I do think that a big reason for this is because the PC platform is so astronomical that I think
Yeah.
it almost could dwarf the console experience. That most people are
Yeah.
going to be playing there, not just because it's better, but like that's where everyone I see is playing it. They're never really playing it on console. Like I played it on console because I couldn't access it on PC. It was the only time.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Apparently, I'm looking at a Windows Central article. Minecraft on Series X and S is an unfortunate disappointment. Lack of communication turns disappointment into frustration for players on Series X and Series S.
Man, I'm seeing that right now.
People feel like yeah, it's undervalued. Like yeah, I'll send it to you right now. Like this kind of speaks to the frustration it seems in the community. In reference, and again, it's supposed to be a super duper graphics pack that never came to pass. Um, we talked about the Bedrock edition, but yeah, they said that it's supposed to deliver superior textures, lighting, HDR, 4K support, and then the Super Duper graphics pack was canceled. What we heard about in 2019, and yeah, they just I don't know. Much said that the Bedrock edition doesn't support mods, but often yeah, I
But
don't
it's just
know.
so
They
that's
said
what I'm saying.
it's so
I
weird.
think it's because it's so relevant and so talked about through the PC space that no one realizes this. Because I'm of a mindset that you'll have people like Unkept Talk who go in and say like, yeah, I'm gonna play it here
Hmm.
on through Game Pass or whatever, and that makes sense. But
Bro,
I think just
this is
people are
bad.
scooping it up on PC because that's where it's best. It's like one of those
Yeah,
experiences.
they said the end result, Minecraft gained zero benefits when played on the best Xbox console if you buy today. To make matters worse, players have been tantalized with a sneak peek of ray tracing on Windows 10,
Mm.
and they saying that Minecraft actually runs worse on Xbox Series X than Xbox One.
Oh,
That's crazy. Now, granted,
whoa.
this article was dated, shout out to Windows, May of this year, but that's pretty
Mm.
damning. That's pretty damning, y'all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, and they're part of the family. Like, why are they? What's going
That's
on?
another
That's
situation
just.
where I think that independence is something we need to monitor because I know Mojang kind of came in was like they're their own thing, doing their thing over
Mm-hmm.
there, and I think with that Bethesda, it's worth keeping an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely is, but it's thank you Unkempt Talk for bringing this to light because I
Yeah, good thing I didn't know.
Minecraft again, it's an entity of its own, understandably so. It just kind of exists, and
Yeah.
it's in the last year or so has become popular again. There's
Mm-hmm.
a piece to Minecraft, like, and I love to sometimes fire up Minecraft. I haven't in a while, but like I used to, just because
Mm-hmm.
it's like very zen,
Yes.
and very surprising to see that
Yeah.
probably Microsoft's biggest game isn't have a next gen update.
Yeah. That's a bad
Yeah.
look. I mean, I'm not even going to sugarcoat. Like, that's a pet peeve. I'm such a techie. When I get the new hardware, I want to see what this thing can do. At
Mhm.
least push it in some direction, take advantage of some aspect, whether it be the 4K, the 120,
Yeah,
something. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
It's
and for something as
I
big
was
as
gonna
Minecraft,
say
for that not to
it's an
happen.
optics issue when you really look at it because you think of like Gears 5 and I love Gears 5 by the way, but I'm saying like that's the next gen update at launch and like not
Hmm.
Minecraft, like the very big game. It's like
Yeah.
what are we looking at here
But,
optics wise? Ori got one, but not Minecraft. Like, yeah, it's clearly I think
mhm.
to me that just speaks to the idea it's a Mojang thing. and it's not a priority.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think it's because that PC number, man, it's probably insane.
Yeah. It's probably
you gotta think of the
insane, and
legacy
that's where
there,
the
right?
resources are. Yeah, maybe the resources are there, but still no excuse. That leads on if you're to be taken serious on console, you need to have that. So agreed.
Absolutely. Thank you on Chem Talk again for making us aware of this. Salute to you. And that's all we've got for episode 45 of Defining Duke. A chonker indeed.
Yes, big time, big time. A lot of fallout on this episode.
Oh, wow. What are you thinking for a hashtag?
I think it's right there.
Yeah, you think so?
I think it's right there. Fallout DD. Like, it's a lot of fallout this episode, man. Like, I had to get the fallout from what you thinking?
Tempered DD, maybe?
Tempered.
Not tempered, but like, well, I want to play with that lowered expectations a little bit. I want to.
You want to play? With the guy? Yeah. I know where you go. You want to play with the?
I was
like,
I think Fallout's a good one. I'm just leaning it. Like, I wanted to test the waters on you there. Like, are you feeling we lean into that? Like, temper your expectations.
Expectation, DD. Tempered. I get it.
Tempered is too many D's. That's triple D's.
It's too many. Yeah, it's whatever. I'm cool with either because that was a big discussion. That was a good one too. I'm good with
let's
tempered.
do Fallout because that's the most unbiased one, right? Like that's me like really jamming my agenda in there. So we're gonna do Fallout DD. I've realized my wrongs there. So we're gonna leave it at that. If you got this deep in the show, you want to let us know. We're at G27 on Twitter, G27 status, on Twitter. That's me. And then we got Lord Cognito over there on Twitter as well. Be sure to reach out to us. Use the hashtag. Let us know what you thought about this show. If you don't have a Twitter, that's fine. I totally get that. By all means, post a comment down below. Let us know you got this deep. Hashtag FalloutDD. Looking forward to interacting with you all. And with that, it's time for us to wrap up episode 45. Cog, any closing thoughts, or shall we end this one?
Big boy episode. Fire. Next coming weeks, even more fire. Get on that Ultimate, y'all. We got big things coming, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to
be a really good time. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll talk with you next week with a big episode featuring us two, as well as Rand and Jez. So, we'll catch you then, all right? Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.